Welcome back to episode 152 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. We're coming to you from frigid Minnesota on a beautiful but very cold Sunday afternoon. Got it right out of the gate, though. In the last, hour or two, huge news for you personally and for Team USA. You want to give us the update, Troy?
Yeah, Team USA, the Women's U18 World Championships. If you're looking at my screen on YouTube, you can see they won the gold medal. I think the final ended up being 5-1 over Czechia. So that was pretty cool. If you're watching on YouTube, Minnetonka goalie Leila Hemp is right in the middle. Kendra is actually over here. There's another player on our Minnetonka team. And then we had another player, Lauren Goldsworthy, but she was like almost kind of a reserve, so she didn't get a lot of playing time. But pretty cool. They won. However, I'm going to have beef with USA Hockey in this picture. Why do you need the coach's head so big or even in the picture? It should be about the players. The coaches will get their accolades. They'll get better assignments. Get rid of the coach and just put the players. But that's me.
Where's your picture? Team USA rides solid goaltending from Leila.
Here's Leila. Here's Leila. This isn't in the championship game because the pictures weren't out yet. But I just like that she has the Minnetonka still on her helmet and little inside baseball here. See these USA decals? They're covering up. Like her blocker has a big, I think, anchor. I think the glove might have the anchor or the M. And then this on her pads, it's a big M when her legs come together. But they put stickers over it to make it say USA. So it's pretty fun.
They didn't get her new pads?
No, they didn't get new pads like the boys. Well, that's another conversation for later, I guess.
Oh, that's crazy. Because what happens if you now rip those stickers off and her pads are wrecked?
No, they're fine. Those stickers will come. They come right off.
Okay. Is that almost better, though? Because then you're using the pads that you're
using the pads
comfortable
you work
with.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think in the past they have bought the girls' equipment if they wanted it, but I don't think she needed it. She's comfortable in her stuff.
Now, this is your goalie. This is your pupil. Let's critique her positioning right here. Are you happy?
Looks good. Looks good.
All right.
All for it.
Go. That's got to be pretty exciting, though, huh? The player that you coach.
Yeah.
Goes on to win the gold medal.
Yeah, I coach her. I always say this. It's such a team effort because let's be honest. I coach her during the season and some during the summer, but there's also other goalie coaches she goes to, and they all do different kind of stuff here and there, and it's just a whole big, let's just call it one big team, I guess, that works with her. Works with all the goalies, actually.
And where's she committed to it again?
She is going to be a Gopher.
So that proves that she's smart and loyal and has a good heart. So there you go.
And then, and the crazy thing is our other goalie on our team on varsity, Ashlyn Hazlett, is committed to Bemidji State. Now, you want to talk about rare. Try to find a Minnesota high school roster with 2 goalies committed to Division I. That's almost impossible to find, and we actually got it this year, so it's pretty cool.
And Leila she's not even a senior, right? Is she a junior?
No, they're both juniors. They'll be seniors next year. So we got one more year after this year with them.
So you'll basically have a career backup too that is committed to Division I also. Essentially, right? Because like Leila would be probably the starter goalie.
Oh no, they both start. They both
start.
Yep. We've swapped. We basically interchange them almost every other game. And once you get to the state tournament, then even sections, we'll start to make some probably a little more decisions around how they're playing and stuff. But right now it's back and forth. We usually swap them every other game.
Oh, so pretty cool though. The player that, you have a small hand. Obviously she's works hard and, does it on her own, but very cool, I'm sure, for you. Nice that you were actually able to watch the game too. Have these always been on TV?
So they have been on the NHL or NHL Network. I don't have the NHL Network, but I have ESPN Plus, which is basically the NHL Network. You get everything on there, and the game was on there today. But they didn't have, I tried to watch some of the past ones that I missed, and I couldn't find them on demand. So maybe it was just live or I was totally missing it. But I did get to watch the game today, which was awesome. And it wasn't at 2 a.m. Like the prelim games were like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. our time. And so this one was a little bit better for the timing.
All right, we've got a huge show. I know we always say that, but this one's really big, like many, many pages of research. So we're going to get going. But before we do, just a reminder that the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means that we really rely on the support of listeners like yourself to help us keep the show going. They cover our expenses for producing the show, give us funds to produce more and hopefully better hockey card content, and help us fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey card hobby. You can join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Be the first 100 supporters of our show, or 199 supporters of our show. You also get access to our Gong Show Discord server and some other kind of fun stuff that we do throughout the year there. Very easy to support us. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page. You go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description if you're listening to us on a podcast app or in YouTube. And then finally, in our Instagram, TikTok profiles, there's a link there as well. All right, Troy, ready with the game plan? Should we get going?
On today's show, we begin with the almost greatest player to wear number 52. Then it's off to Who's Hot and the Struggle Bus. Next, we take a look at hobby news. Then we give our mid-season hobby report. And boy, is that a lot of research and work Josh did on that. Holy cow. We follow this with a look at new product releases. Next, it is another edition of the Gong Show Mailbag. We end the show with personal pickups, or as I'm about to change the segment's name to, just Josh's pickups. I have failed miserably, I don't know, over 2 months maybe, but whatever.
I tried to do a trade on your behalf today on my card.
Oh, did you?
So you'd have something, but they didn't accept it. But I'm going to show you the card. Okay. I think you'll really be interested in it, and you might go after it on your own. So.
All right. I'm going to say I'm war chesting for Series 2, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, all right, here we go.
See.
We'll see. All right. Previously, we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through all the numbers, so we are now looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners up in the Hockey Writers' Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article. Josh, the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 52. Per the nominees in the Hockey Writers' Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article, and selected by me, is this guy, Mike Green. And I actually did know who Mike Green was, so I was pretty proud of myself for that one. I knew who he was. There were no other runner-ups at number 52. As a reminder, the greatest to wear number 52 was Adam Foote. All right, Josh. Mike Green, defenseman. Oh, I can say this one. Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Fun fact, Josh, Calgary is the number 2 city for audio listens of our podcast.
Yeah, we got a big Calgary contingency there. We should probably cater more of the show to it.
I know. I tried to look at YouTube's metrics around cities, but it was kind of a mess. I couldn't figure it out. But for audio version, Calgary, you're number 2. All right, Green was selected 29th overall in the 2004 NHL entry draft by the Washington Capitals. Green played in 880 regular season NHL games over a 15-season NHL career. Green played his first 10 seasons with the Washington Capitals. He then played his next 4.5 seasons with the Detroit Red Wings before being traded to the Edmonton Oilers, where he only played 2 games due to spraining his MCL. And then we had the COVID crisis and all that stuff, and he decided to retire instead of come back. So that's kind of how his career ended. For his awards and accomplishments, he is a 2-time NHL First All-Star Team selection. He's also a 2-time NHL All-Star Game selection. Over the course of his regular season career, Green had 150 goals, 351 assists for 501 points. Green made the playoffs in 8 of his 15 NHL seasons, compiling 10 goals, 27 assists for 37 points in 76 NHL playoff games played. Best season of his NHL career from a point standpoint was his 09-10 season, where Green had 19 goals, 57 assists for 76 points in 75 games played with the Washington Capitals. Green was an offensively gifted defenseman who was also known as one of the best power play quarterbacks during his playing career. In addition, he had a tremendous slap shot coupled with an offensive mindset. In addition, he was also a solid defensive defenseman and was twice a finalist for the Norris Trophy. And now I know I mentioned something about his hard shot. We'll have more on that in fun facts. So get ready.
Okay.
Green was involved with various charities during his playing career. I couldn't find a lot about what he is doing now. I don't know what he's doing after he retired, except for this little nugget and this tweet. The Russian Machine Never Breaks website, which follows the Capitals. It's my favorite name for a website ever.
Yeah.
Russian Machine Never Breaks. But they put out this little article that he was seen in the luxury box for the Capitals for their alumni at a game versus Detroit this season, where he also played. He's on the far right here. Still looks like he could play.
Yeah, no kidding.
He just looks like he's ready to suit him up. So maybe they're trying to lure him back. But again, that's all I could really find what he was doing now. All right,
they need somebody to feed Ovi. So
I know. Hey, there you go. On that power play. All right, fun, interesting facts. We got a couple. His nicknames, Josh, were Greeny, Greener, Murph, and Game Over Green, which was made popular by Capitals play-by-play announcer John, and I don't know how to say this, Beninati, after his game-winning goals in the last minutes of the third period or overtime became a regular occurrence. So, Josh, I had to look it up and see, and Green scored 20 game-winning goals in his 10 seasons with the Capitals, which is obviously pretty good for a defenseman.
Where does the name Murph come from?
Great question. I couldn't find that one. I use whatever Hockey Reference tells me.
Sure.
All right. Second fun fact. During the 08-09 season, Green set an NHL record for goals in consecutive games by a defenseman at 8. A record which I still believe is held today. At least NHL.com said it does, but that site, it scares me sometimes because I've fact checked some of their records and they're wrong. So I just think sometimes they don't update it in time, but it still says that's the record. So I'm going to go with it. All right, here's our fun shot one. As previously mentioned, Green had a powerful shot. And I found this little nugget from Wikipedia. So remember, it's Wikipedia. Mike Green took a slap shot from the blue line in a game that was blocked by Philadelphia's Patrick Thoresen. The shot broke Thoresen's protective cup and nearly ruptured a testicle, and he had to be taken to a local hospital, missing the next game. Yikes. So I guess
I'm suing that cup manufacturer.
Moral of the story is don't get in front of a shot with your cup. Well, it's funny because goalies, a lot of the NHL guys, they have a goalie cup, but then they'll have another like cup over it or protection, and then their breezers will also have protection built in. So it's almost like 3 layers of protection. It's pretty crazy.
Well, is there enough protection for that area?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Sure.
So I'm on board with that.
Yeah, true. All right, last fun fact. Green was one of the best D-man in Capitals history. He ranks 4th in goals in team history by a Capitals defenseman with 113 and 6th in points for a Capitals defenseman with 360, despite only playing 575 career games in Washington. So good career, made his money, got out with his health, it seems. Looks like he could still play. Maybe he'll be back to feed Ovi and help Ovi get the record, but we shall see. All right, Josh.
Just QB of the power play, man.
There you go. You got to find him. You got to find Ovi. All right, his rookie card, 2005-06 SP Authentic number 287, Future Watch, serial numbered out of 1,999. PSA 10 pop, 23 with, I don't know if I've seen this high of a gem rate, with a gem rate of 85%. So everyone was making sure they had the gem mint copy when they sent it in. Last sale of this card, boy, this might be the lowest PSA 10 sale I've seen, was for $15.50 US via eBay and verified in Terapeak. There we go, Josh. Mike Green.
Doesn't cover grading costs.
No. But if you want it for protection, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Another great player. Awesome to learn about. Continue our education on the players that have really kind of, been the big part of the history of the game. And so love doing this segment. It is time, though, Troy, to move on to week 14 of Who's Hot in the Struggle Bus.
All right.
The 2023 NHL or 2023-24 NHL season. It's where we take a look at the players dominating in the past couple of weeks, and then others that are, well, I guess, plopping down on their seats on the struggle bus.
Yep.
Like we always do, we're going to start with our nominations for who's hot. I got the first pick, Troy, and I picked Elias Pettersson.
No.
I don't think anybody's been hotter in the past couple of weeks
Nope.
in the NHL than Pettersson.
Oh, maybe the next guy, but we'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Well, Pettersson has 9 goals and 5 assists for 14 points in the past 7 games played. Now, getting back to my green here for a second, a little bit of a connection here.
Yeah.
This Pettersson stretch, Troy, includes 4 straight games where he had the game-winning goal.
Wow.
Only the 3rd NHL player to ever do that. Coincidentally, the last, or not coincidentally, but just maybe fun to know, the last player to do it was Daniel Alfredsson in 2007.
All right.
So on the season now, Pettersson has scored 22 goals, added 35 assists for 57 points in 43 games played. Puts his current pace at 42 goals, 109 points, which would be slightly ahead of where he finished last year, where he had 39 goals and 102 points. Pettersson was also named an All-Star this week, and I'm sure all of his cryptocurrencies went up in value too. Because what didn't go right for him this week, right?
Yes.
Got engaged, got a puppy. Whatever could it possibly go right probably did. Now he's in a contract year too, Troy. So I'm guessing that you'll see max effort from him too, and probably continue his season because he's looking at probably a pretty big payday right now. Saw an article that thought he might be in line to get 12-13 million per season, which would put him at the upper echelon of NHL players. I think the Nylander contract from a week ago was a big help to him. So Nylander gets 11.5 million per year when that kicks in next year. And then if you do a comparison, you can make a case that Pettersson's been better. Well, he's younger, so that helps. And then statistically, at least, he's outperformed Nylander in his career. So I guess that's the basis there. He does have one more year as an RFA, but it sounds like both parties want to work out a deal by this summer. And just 25 years old, so should be entering his prime, Troy. Now, Pettersson is a 2018 Young Guns PSA 10 pop, 2,291. 76% gem rate, less over 183 US on January 12th. It's up about 2% in the past 2 weeks and down about 1% in the past month. So fairly stable, I would say, over the past month. But yeah, it's hard to get any hotter than Elias Pettersson right now. But you're going to try.
I'm going to try. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but before I put up the picture, I'll read a little. Well, hold on. I got his picture. We'll bring him up. Okay. So, Josh, I'm going with the good things come to those who wait, I guess, with this guy. Because if you remember on our last Who's Hot segment, I briefly mentioned how well Sam Reinhardt was playing. And when I talked about Martin Jones, I said I could have easily probably put Sam Reinhardt on this segment. Well, he made it this time. The wait, I'm sure, was worth it. I'm sure he's watching and listening with bated breath right now. But
and it's not just a week either, Troy, because we've had people in our Discord nominate him for a long time now, and we've been holding out.
We've been holding out. Just prove it to me. Sam. And you're going to see he has proved it almost all year. 28-year-old Reinhardt hasn't slowed down, still on fire. So it is only fair to put him on the Who's Hot list for this episode. So, Josh, check this out. Since December 23rd, Reinhardt has 13 goals, 2 assists for 15 points in 10 games. Our favorite puck hog, I guess, with all them goals. But, hey, if you're scoring, no one cares. In fact, in those 10 games, he has scored a goal in 9 of those games.
Jeez.
Pretty impressive. For the season, Reinhardt has 31 goals, 23 assists for 54 points in 42 games played. Puts him on pace for 105 points during the season, which would be a career high for him in points. His previous career high was 82 points in 78 games during the 21-22 NHL season. Now, Josh, the NHL itself has also taken note of the season Reinhardt has been having. He has been named the star of the week 4 times so far this year. Twice as a first star and twice as a third star of the week. So pretty good. So I actually did okay, he's having an awesome year. Why? What's going on with it?
Yeah.
And just like your boy Pettersson, he's in a contract year. So that's the first thing that's going well. He's in a contract year. No better way to get a big payday than having a fantastic season, putting yourself on pace to set a career high in points. I read in the Athletic that they've asked him, they've asked his agent. Yes, they're in talks to have an extension
Sure.
and get a payday and all that fun stuff. Then the other reason it looks like he's been gelling really well with center Sasha Barkov. I'm gonna call him Sasha because that's what everyone calls him. In the past, the two have played together, but just didn't really click. And head coach Paul Maurice noted that this season, Reinhardt came into the season in elite condition, which has allowed him to keep up with Barkov and play around 20 minutes per night. Previously, Reinhardt would seem to wear down with trying to keep up with the amount of time Maurice wanted Barkov on the ice. And so Maurice noted that he came in really good shape. And Reinhardt himself has also said this. And he said in the past, it would take him 20 or so games to feel like he is now. However, since he started the season and just hit the best shape of his life, he feels like he has been in his prime all season. And just a sidetrack to that, Maurice said he always came into camp in good shape. It wasn't like he came in lazy. It's just like he took the extra step this year, and it's paying off very well, as we can see.
Well, it's probably his last big contract, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's 20. Is he 28? I can't remember.
Yeah, you said 28. So
okay.
Generational wealth maybe on the line, or being set for life at the very least. That's a pretty good motivator to work out a little bit in the summer.
Definitely a good motivator. All right, Josh. Reinhardt's a 2014 Young Guns, PSA 10 pop of 243, gem rate of 74%. This card has sold in anywhere from 68 to 85 US dollars range in January. At the end of October, beginning of November, sales of this card were around 50 US dollars. So it's definitely seen a nice little bump with Reinhardt's continued hotness continuing this year.
All right, Troy. So for my second pick in Husad, I feel like you because I picked a goalie.
Yeah,
a little out of my comfort zone there. So you're gonna critique my goalie evaluation, I guess. Well, it's hard not to acknowledge Connor Hellebuyck.
Yeah.
In the past 2 weeks, he's started 5 games, 4-1 record, a 1.42 goals against, and a .951 save percentage. His team is also hotter than dog snot, which I'm guessing is pretty hot because I don't have any personal experience with dog snot, but I guess I just love that term, so I'm going to go with it. Jets are currently second in the NHL with 60 points, only behind Vancouver, who have 61. And the Jets are 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. On the season, the 30-year-old Hellebuyck has a record of 26-3. That's pretty good.
Yes.
2.19 goals against and .924 save percentage. He was named the NHL's third star of the week last week. And I think to this point, most odd makers have him as the favorite to win the Vezina.
Well, yeah, even those stats in today's game are fantastic. Like that is really, really good.
Seems like it's him and Thatcher Demko that are kind of duking it out in the Vezina race right now. And Hellebuyck currently leads the NHL in goals against and save percentage. And when you think about it, it's been kind of a crazy sort of plot twist on the season for the Jets, right? Many thought they were going to be bad, and they were kind of a little bit dysfunctional last year. There's a whole like Blake Wheeler thing where you're the captain or you're not the captain. And then they got rid of him. I think like the prevailing thought was that whether it was going to be before the year or by the trade deadline, that guys like Hellebuyck or Mark Scheifele were really likely trade candidates. And now turning around and the hottest team in the NHL, and they're looking, and I think they're still without Kyle Connor, I believe, too, as their leading scorer. So, if he comes back, it could be interesting to see kind of how they finish up the year.
Well, yeah, whatever Tockett's doing, man, he's definitely in the running for Coach of the Year and all that fun stuff.
Well, Tockett's Vancouver.
Or sorry, I'm thinking, God, who's I can't think of the Winnipeg coach.
Demko. Oh, yeah, I don't know who the.
I should know this. That's what I was thinking. Why did I say Tocchet? Oh, because I was thinking of Elias Pettersson, and then you had Vancouver has more points than them, right?
Yeah.
Than the Jets. But the second thing I was going to say, it's kind of funny when you talked about the goalies who are in the lead for the Vezina. You said Hellebuyck and Demko. 2 American goalies. Who would have thought 2 Americans would be in the running for the Bills now?
It's crazy. And it got me thinking about Hellebuyck, because we've been talking about the last, I don't know, couple of months about how goalie plays so up and down. And are there really any great like elite goalies or that you might think God are all timers, 5, 6, 7 years from now? Hellebuyck could be one of those guys. He's sort of in legacy building territory now, maybe. He's 30 years old, I think. Amongst active goalies, he's 7th in wins with 259 career victories. I think the only active goalie who's younger than him that's got more wins is Vasilevsky.
Yeah, Vasi's the one. If you were thinking about that legacy guy, it's like Vasi right now is probably number one.
He's got the cups.
Yes, and Rick Bowness is the coach of the Jets. I don't know why I forgot that.
Okay. But Vasi has also played for a lot better team than Hellebuyck too. So, I guess to do apples to apples comparison, you have to kind of figure out how to balance that out. Hellebuyck is tied for 14th all time in save percentage. 14th all time, Troy. You know he's tied with Thomas Vokoun and Pekka Rinne.
Pekka. There we go.
Oh, yeah. So, are you a fan of Connor Hellebuyck?
Oh yeah, I love Hellebuyck. And
why is he a good goalie? Do you know?
He's just. I mean, with Hellebuyck, I've actually watched him. There's this it's called In Goal Magazine. It's one of these really goalie centric things, and you can subscribe to their website. But they always have these drills, and you just watch. And Hellebuyck's on there a bunch. It's amazing. One, he's huge. He's a big dude. 2, he's like, look at his picture, his profile picture. He looks like he's ready to kill you. It's like, I just love the intensity. But then watching him practice, the drills he does, the amount of time he spends at them, and just getting like perfection. And I know he works tons of extra after practice when they do goalie worlds and stuff. So I've always been impressed with him. He's always been, every time I've watched him, he's been a really good goalie. So doesn't surprise me one bit how well he's playing.
Okay, so it's the gold medal game of the Olympics, and you're a Team USA, the GM. Who are you putting in net for that game right now?
Oh, I'd probably put Hellebuyck in.
Yeah.
Who are my other options? Demko and Ottinger. Who else would there be?
Is Swayman American?
Oh, Swayman's American. I think so.
Yeah. I think Hellebuyck is definitely the go-to there. He's a 2015 Young Guns PSA 10 pop, 373, 51% gem rate, last sold for $78 on January 10th. Down about 9% from the past 2 weeks, but up 7% over the past month. Now, $78 seems pretty cheap for
it's a goalie, man. I would buy this all day and just hang out with it. It's like, you're never going to get rich with goalies, it seems. So
if you buy it, the pop will go to 9,000 and value to 13 cents. So
everyone will submit it immediately.
A Troy kiss of death on Young Guns. All right, Troy. Struggle Bus is here. Let's not waste any time and see who's on it this week. You have the first nomination for the Struggle Bus.
I do. So, Josh, it hurts. It pains me. Our own Minnesota boy who played high school hockey at Minnetonka. So I'm just going to show a picture of him playing high school hockey at Minnetonka. Yes, Bobby Brink has landed on the Struggle Bus. Rough streak for our boy. So there's him at Minnetonka if you're watching on YouTube. Here's him with the Flyers where he actually plays right now. Plus, Josh, there was some minor drama with Brink this week. Just minor drama. I don't want to get
the NHL is like a giant soap opera right now.
It is. Little minor drama. We'll get to that in a bit. But let's look at Bobby Brink's rough patch. Over the past 2 weeks, Josh, Brink has 1 goal, 0 assists for 1 point in 7 games played. Now, for the season, Brink has 7 goals, 11 assists for 18 points in 38 games played. And up until this rough patch, Brink has been playing fairly well and was getting significant time on the ice, anywhere from around 14 to 17 minutes a night. Recently, his time on ice has been around 10 minutes per night, and it's even dropped below that. Obviously, the recent struggles have put a damper on his playing time. And when you think about who his head coach is, which we will get to in a second, you will understand probably why his playing time has been
Do you think,
reduced.
though, Troy, that there is, like the Madden curse? Is it the rookie deep dive curse?
It might be. People or Irish Flyers Collector campaigned for many weeks to get Bobby Brink on just to bring the curse of the rookie deep dive on him. And now he's on the struggle bus being picked up. All right, so let's look at the minor drama I kind of talked about. So the Flyers played the Wild on January 12th. This was hyped up as it would be the first time Bobby Brink played in Minnesota. It was going to be his homecoming game. However, given his recent struggles, head coach John Tortorella made Brink a healthy scratch. This was disappointing for Brink as he had about 24 supporters in town for the game. Or do you think his grandparents were one of them, like Shane Wright?
Was this the Shane? He got Shane Wrighted.
He did. He got Shane Wright. It's happened before. It's happened before. I didn't put the guy's name in here, but Torts actually had this happen last year. I think with was it a game in Calgary or something? But anyways, let's get more into it. So about scratching Brink, Tortorella said, other players are playing better. This is all part of the process for Bobby. He's going to be a really good player, but there are a lot of things he needs to work on. And I think he's been a little inconsistent. Bobby Brink doesn't have a cemented spot in the NHL. He has a ways to go as far as to find that, but that's to be expected. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. Tortorella was asked if it was tough to scratch Brink for his homecoming game, and in true Torts fashion stated, absolutely not. And don't start with all the hugging and that stuff because I heard it last year. It's the National Hockey League. I can't get itineraries from players when their parents are coming in to decide what a lineup is. I can't. I knew that would come up. You're in the wrong game if we're going to play intramurals and all that stuff. Whatever you want to call the fun stuff. This is the NHL. These are part of the things that kids have to go through. Having said that, yeah, I'd love for his parents to see him play. It just didn't work out that way. That was a lot of words, but true Torts fashion. And there's a difference. Like Babcock, when he did this stuff, they'd always get called out. I think he was malicious in doing it. Tortorella, I don't think is. I think he's just doing what's best for the team. I don't think he's trying to be like, I'm going to do it to this guy to really rub it into him. But that's just me. I don't know if you have a different opinion.
No, I kind of like it. I mean, I don't love the fact that he got Shane Wrighted. I mean, that's not fun for anyone. But I think, like, when you're making the comparison between Babcock and Tortorella, Babcock was like undermining, like
he had issues. He had like mental issues.
Like Tortorella is just I think he's open and fair, right? And inconsistent.
Well, my next line was, I think it's tough but fair is what I was thinking to myself.
And I get it too. If you're a coach in the NHL and your job depends on winning,
yes,
you can't make a lineup based on, you start with, well, everybody's feelings and stuff like that. That's not how the game of professional sports works. And so it's unfair, I think, to expect for a coach to do that as well. And it sounds like Brink took it in stride, right?
Yeah. Brink stated, they obviously got to ask him that it's disappointing. He also noted there are things he has to do better and that it's about him going out and doing what he needs to do. So there you go. Bobby Brink on the struggle bus, minor drama, all that fun stuff. But Brink, Josh, is a 2022 Young Guns PSA 10 pop of 49 with a 42% gem rate. Last sold for $68 on December 31st of 2023. In November, Josh, this card was selling for $110 or 100 in the $110 range. Yeah. So a pretty big drop, almost 50%, but still up from October when the card was selling in the $40 to $60 range. So there we go.
And he has a good pedigree, so I'm sure he'll figure it out. Who knows what his ceiling is in the NHL? Probably not as high as many people would think. Yeah. But tough stretch. Tough to come home and have basically be sitting in the stands with your family as you're there to watch you play. All right, joining Bobby Brink on the struggle bus, Troy, is Andrei Kuzmenko. Remember last year when he was pretty much the best rookie or the best player who's too old to be a rookie?
Yep.
However you want to put it. The 27-year-old Vancouver Canucks forward finished his rookie or first season in the NHL with a very impressive 39 goals, 35 assists for 74 points in 81 games played. which, by the way, was way better than Calder Trophy winner Matty Beniers, who just had 27 goals and 57 points. Well, Troy, in the last 10 games, Kuzmenko has 2 goals, 0 assists for 2 points, and giving him just 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points on the year in 37 games played. Now, why is he such an old, quote-unquote, rookie? Kuzmenko had a 7-year KHL career, of course, in Russia, before taking his talents to the Canucks last season. I kind of found this interesting, and I think this is an example of why it's really important to look up the pedigree.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do. So if you just like Google Andrei Kuzmenko stats and go to NHL.com and change it from the NHL to all seasons in the drop down, you kind of see every team he's basically ever played for. And so when you look at like his goals last year, 39 goals last year for a quote unquote rookie, it's like, wow, almost 40 goals already. In that 7-year career, though, Troy, in the KHL, he played 376 games and only had 103 goals and 229 points. So he was never really a goal scorer. And it kind of makes you wonder if last season's essentially a half a goal per game performance might have been a little bit of an aberration. There's really not, it's the only time he's ever scored to that clip in his entire hockey career almost. Now, he's also spent some time in the press box as of late. Not sure if he's an exact or a favorite of Nucks coach Rick Tocchet.
Yeah,
so you had Bobby Brink, who, on the positive side of Bobby Brink, is Torts was, generally very complimentary of him.
Yep.
I don't think Talk has been quite so complimentary of Kuzmenko.
He wants to send him back to the KHL now.
Pretty much. And I think it has a lot to do with the defensive side of the game where he's not playing well. And I suppose, like, if you're an offensive player who's used to scoring a lot of goals, but you don't really play defense, if you have a 6-month stretch or 3-month stretch where you're no longer scoring goals, then you basically have no value to your team at that point. Right?
Scratched.
So I've read a bunch of articles yesterday, and it just sounds like their relationship is not real good. Some friction there. So I would wonder if Kuzmenko could end up being on the trade block as the deadline approaches. There was a fair amount of interest in him last season when he signed with the Canucks because he was told to be drafted. So I don't exactly know how it goes, but he basically was a free agent and was allowed to sign with whatever team he wanted. And he chose the Canucks over a number of other interested teams. So, and I would assume, I guess, as a Russian, Vancouver is about as close as you could possibly get to home, right?
Maybe.
That's a factor. Andrei Kuzmenko is a 2022-23 Young Guns PSA 10, Papa 270, 33% gem rate. Last sold for $62 in January 6th. If you look at the start of the season, where there's a lot of maybe hope that he would continue to perform well, that was selling around 90 at the start of the season. So about down, call it 31% since then. So, Troy, for week 14, we have Elias Pettersson, Sam Reinhardt, and Connor Hellebuyck in Who's Hot. And then riding the struggle bus, a couple of younger guys, Bobby Brink and Andrei Kuzmenko. Got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. Of course, we're very, very grateful to them for their support of our show. Well, Troy, Slab Sharks came back last week with a bang. They had a huge first auction of 2024. And now we're quickly on to auction number 2.
Yep.
So be sure to head to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction, find your favorites, and place your bids. I spent some time this weekend looking through the auction, like kind of a Saturday morning tradition now. And once again, I mean, there's just tons of great cards. I'm so redundant in saying that, but it's true.
Yep.
And so I think I picked up 5 that really stood out to me. And this first one has me in all the hobby feels, Troy, right away. 2021-22, the Cup, Gordie Howe, exquisite collection. It's the 0304 exquisite autograph patch kind of tribute. It's a glove memorabilia with a Gordie Howe auto, sticker auto, because he's passed away, of course, out of 10.
It's jersey number.
Oh, yeah, 9 out of 10. I didn't even, I don't notice that as much. I must not care about it, but I just don't know. Now, this is definitely a sticker auto card I can get behind. That's
Yeah.
for sure. I think this card is amazing. And I love the fact that they went with the black and white photo too.
Yeah.
The brown of the glove is awesome. It kind of made me wonder though, and I don't know if they would even answer this, but I think I want to ask them, how many sticker do you think that they have left with his signature on it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a finite resource, right? They're eventually going to run out. And I don't know. It depends when they could get them all signed, if they waited too long or what, but I'm assuming they have a good amount. They probably paid a good amount of money to get them, but yeah, no idea how many they have left.
I'm not a Gordie Howe like autograph expert, of course, but doesn't it look like the auto maybe is like when he was a little bit older?
Oh
And
yeah, for sure.
shakier.
Yeah, for sure it was.
So who knows if they're getting to the end at all, or what if that means, or if it was just the sheet somebody
Yeah.
selected. But yeah, I don't know. I really, really like this card, and I'll be very curious to see what it sells for. Probably way out of my budget.
Yeah.
But if I open a tin of the cup and got this card, I would be like doing cartwheels.
Yes, that'd be crazy.
I don't think I've ever done a cartwheel, so that'd be pretty cool. All right, the next one, Troy. Just a ho-hum 2005-06 SP Authentic Sidney Crosby Future Watch Auto BGS 9.510. Right? Ridiculous card, but obviously a big time banger in the auction there. Very, very nice. Talk about like well-designed cards. These Future Watch Autos for 2005-06 are so clean and have a great spot for the auto, and obviously timed very well, and that you have two of probably the biggest stars in the hobby that year as rookies. So now this next card, Troy. Oh, I'm really, really in love with this card. So it's the 2015-16 Ultimate Collection Connor McDavid Ultimate Rookies Autographed Jersey, keyword, out of 49. Is this the nicest jersey auto card you've ever seen?
It is a nice jersey. I'm not in love with the design, but I do like the jersey piece and how big it is.
Oh, you don't like the design out? Is it the brown?
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the brown. Maybe it's too many. It don't like all these different windows.
Too many compartments.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, maybe that. But I do like the big jersey piece. That's nice.
Here's my thing though. Like if you don't like have the Connor McDavid rookie patch auto budget,
yeah,
and maybe you're more of the jersey rookie auto budget, this could be about as I just don't think you would ever see a bigger or nicer jersey swatch than this one. So definitely worth checking out, and go to slabsharks.com to see it for yourself. Now the next one, Troy, is a 2020-21 The Cup Mario Lemieux Lamplighters Gold Ink Auto. I think these cards are gonna the momentum will continue to build over time on them. I liked them last year, but I feel like the general consensus was not as positive.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that, or am I just making?
No, they definitely was. There was definitely some mixed feelings on these,
and maybe that's not like a cup card. But I think
I think what
Mitch
the big
Trotman went.
Yeah, that's what I think the big I don't know what complaint is, that it didn't feel like this was a cup card.
Mm-hmm. Love the Gold Ink Auto. It's a little thin, maybe in places, but it looks nice. If you're watching on YouTube too, and you've heard me make the joke that I call Mario Lemieux autos Oli left saw autos because look at it and tell me it doesn't look more like Oli left saw than how do you get Mario Lemieux out of that? It looks nothing like Mario Lemieux. I don't understand, but beautiful looking auto, very like nice flow to it, I guess. And then Oli left side totally is a giveaway to my northern Minnesota Scandinavian heritage, right?
Yep.
Got left sock. My family's very Norwegian, and then the whole Sven and Ole thing, I guess. All right, the last one, Troy, is a card I really like. Player I feel lukewarm on. 2020-21 Upper Deck Premier Tim Stützle.
Yeah.
Rookie patch auto gold spectrum out of 35 BGS 8.510. The patch is just filthy on this card.
Yeah, great patch.
for a smaller patch window. So it's 4 color and 5 different breaks is
Yep.
that?
Yep.
It's not the TS auto that he
Yep.
does now too. So I don't know. I think for Stutzla RPA, it's a very, very nice card. Now I could have picked like 20 cards because, like I said, they're all awesome, and so be sure to go check out the cards for yourself. And if you're a Canadian hockey cards collector looking to move some cards for cash, we'd recommend Slab Sharks eBay consignment services. Why are so many collectors using them, Troy? I know you're asking that question and you want me to answer, so I'll do it right now. Because they make it easy and hassle-free to sell your cards on eBay. They do all the work and handle any hassles and issues that come up. You just send them your cards or drop them off at a local card show, and then basically you just get paid. So visit slabsharks.com for complete consignment information and get started consigning your cards with them today. Hobby news.
There it is.
There it is.
That's about the way Zegras' season has went.
Yeah, more bad news for Trevor Zegras collectors and investors, I guess. The 22-year-old Ducks forward will miss 6 to 8 weeks with a broken ankle. He was injured in the first period of a 5-3 Ducks win earlier this week after sliding feet first into the boards. I think as somebody's stick got caught in his skates, and that happens, right? It was only Troy's 8th game back after missing 20 games with another lower body injury. It's so bad it's going to require surgery, which I think he's going to have if he hasn't already in the next day or two. And what an astonishingly bad run it's been in these past 6-9 months for Zegras. It's just been one thing after another, hasn't it?
It's every time I turn on the news about him, there's something else that's bad being said about him.
With the exception of the Michigan goal that he scored with the same
night. True. Yeah.
It was like the only good thing. And I say all that, neither of us really have a horse in the race. And I'm actually starting to feel bad for this guy and collector. You've got all these injuries. His team is apparently like lukewarm on him at best.
Yeah.
The stretches he hasn't played very well, so the momentum has not been positive at all. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a turnaround next season, though.
At Anaheim or not at Anaheim?
Well, I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't want to be insensitive to Ducks fans who may not like this idea, but I don't know. From what I'm sitting, I kind of feel like he needs a fresh start. Don't you?
Seems like it would help.
What would they get back from at this point, though?
Yeah, that's the whole problem. Maybe he can go down to Florida because they seem like they have a lot of talent. Maybe they can't afford everyone next year, so they'll send someone he can go hang out in Miami and live the life with Tkachuk.
Do you think there's something to injuries in the first 2 weeks of January?
We have Bedard. Like after the break or whatever.
And we have Bedard. We have Zegras. Last year we had Caulfield and Slavkovsky.
Yeah. Could be, but I'd have to see like a scientific study on it, but it does seem to pop up more, but that's just anecdotal.
True. Yeah, we're very scientific here. Too lazy to study it. Well, Zegras tries the 2021 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 1,143, 30% gem rate, less sold for $101 on January 13th. Pretty much flat over the past 2 weeks. Actually up 17% in the past month. Maybe people are buying more that he came back from his injury. Yeah. If he doesn't play much the rest of the year, I don't know. I mean, kind of already thinking to the off-season dip, right, in the summer. I wonder if there'll be a case to be made for the Zegras comeback next year and buying on the cheap. But that'll be something to maybe think about. All right, one more story. The NHL All-Star jerseys were, I guess, unveiled. Is that the way to put it?
I guess.
Revealed. Coming to patch cards near you in the future. So what was your initial reaction to these?
Hate them, but I also am smart enough to know these aren't made for me. They are not marketing to you and I. I think they're marketing to a younger generation. And once you add that in, probably makes sense what they're doing. You're saying patches. I was trying to actually see, is this a patch or They
It
almost
might looks like a screen printing.
It almost looks screen printed, but I obviously have terrible resolution. But I hope it's a patch. But they have shields on them, which would be kind of cool. Yeah,
And
I
there's
mean, my
4 of
first
them, which
reaction.
is weird.
What's that?
I think that the fact that there's 4 teams makes it kind of weird too.
Yeah, and I was totally saying, like, when I first saw them, I hated them, but again, I don't think they're marketing to me, so I just kind of live with it.
Yeah. Very primary colors too. So the
Yes.
4 color teams will be basically blue, yellow, white, and red. Each jersey has a yellow and black NHL All-Star like patch or big logo or something like that on the front of them. Some stars on the sleeves, and then I think on the shoulder we'll have a patch for the team that each player plays for. Right, so if it's a Rangers player, it'll have a Rangers patch, etc. Now, well, the interesting thing though about these, I think these jerseys that seem a little ugly on face value, I wonder how many people thought that and then changed their tune when they learned who made them.
Yeah,
Because I think that's the interesting part of the story here.
Here's how I know this was not marketed to me. I have no clue who this is. Zero.
Justin Bieber?
I know who that is, but the next thing you're gonna say, the fashion company.
Yeah, he has a fashion company called Drew House that has a very iconic sort of logo to it, kind of
I never even knew what
streetwear,
this is.
right? I'm sure that sweatshirt, if you're watching on YouTube, is about $12,000 or something like that. Yeah, so they're designed by the Biebs. A very smart idea, in my opinion, and I think that primary color thing must be in. I don't know if I have a fever, but I feel like the last couple of weeks I've been gaining faith in the NHL's marketing because, like I said, you got Bieber's from Canada, he's from Toronto.
Yeah.
Proud Canadian, loves hockey, international superstar, has a fashion brand. And yeah, it just seems whether you love the design or not, it's really, really smart, I think, for them to go this route rather than just having some everyday designer design a jersey that, you know, is just a jersey, right? So I don't know. I mean, knowing that it's Justin Bieber, it's a, very popular brand in Drew House. I wonder if do you think that when these eventually get into hockey cards, if that adds a little bit of extra juice to the value or not?
Maybe. It has to be the right person. Like, it has to be a younger person, I think.
I think it does matter though. And that's one of the things I thought of like with Fanatics. Like we've seen a lot of these like booklet cards with like the Adidas logo,
Yeah.
right, for hockey. And we've seen for football, like the Nike logo and cards. I don't know if anyone's going to be really excited about like Fanatics.
Yeah, this would be cool. It has the Drew House and then the Adidas and the NHL.
Oh,
That's got to be a book, right? That's going to be a whatever.
No, it's going to be like a foundation, like 4 tag cards, like laundry tag.
Yeah.
Oh, that's coming. That's coming for sure. So again, I think really, really smart. Now, the one thing when we do see patch cards, I just hope that it's the picture of the player on the card is them in this All-Star jersey. In addition to the memorabilia, I just can't. I'm getting more and more annoyed with like let's say like for instance, like I know like Brink, right, from the Red Wings was named an All-Star. So if he's on the blue and yellow team, I don't want to see like him in a Red Wings jersey with a blue and yellow patch.
Yeah.
Because 15 years from now, it just confuses the heck out of people and it looks weird.
Yep.
So,
or if they do, at least on the back, put All-Star jersey or something. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, these jerseys. Now, Josh, I'm going to disagree with you on one point about the NHL's marketing because I was reading about the whole skills competition. I'm going off on a tangent. Okay. And so they're having like, there's 6 events and then they do like, they compete in the first 4. So it's like the Fastenal NHL fastest skater, Upper Deck NHL stick handling. They're all sponsored. We really missed out. We should have got a hold of the NHL and had like the Gong Show slowest skater, the Gong Show least athletic, because at the end of the day, they have to do an obstacle course. I think it'd be hilarious if we had the guy that just couldn't make it, fell over. So we totally missed out on this one.
They could like sit on like Like have like a set designer make a struggle bus, and while they're waiting to skate, they can have one, all the rest of the competitors sitting on there. Yeah, that would have
No,
been
I got it. The struggle bus is the trophy, but we make it so when they hand it to whoever wins it, it just crumbles and falls apart. Kind of like
there you go.
that Bansky or what's his name? Bansky?
Banksy.
Banksy. He had the piece of art
Oh, the
that they auctioned
disintegrating
and
art.
someone hit a
Yeah.
button and it shredded it.
Or you hit a button and it blows like smoke, like out of a tailpipe in your face or something like that. Yeah, that'd be good.
Straight up carbon monoxide. I love it.
I don't know if I'd be rocking one of these jerseys myself, but I
Yeah.
do give the NHL an A for their collaboration efforts. All right, we got to move on to our midseason hobby report. So you mentioned that it was kind of a lot of work. It was.
Grab some popcorn. You're gonna be here a
And
while.
it could have been like 25 times as long. Like when I originally did the outline, I don't think I knew I bit off more than I could chew, Troy. I'll just say that. But there's just so much to go through, and I wanted to be as comprehensive as possible. So we included as much as we could possibly get in here. And yeah, I guess you get to through 40 games or almost at the All-Star break. And so it's kind of a natural point to
Yep.
look back and try to assess, okay, well, what's happened to this point? And how do we think that the season is going to shake out for a number of these guys? And kind of instead of just going player by player, try to create a bunch of maybe interesting categories
Yep.
for us to review and comment on. So we'll just get right to it. The first one, which everyone loves breakouts, right? Then it's a big thing in the
Yep.
hobby. Who's breaking out, who's gonna kind of establish themselves as a star in the league. And to me, the first half breakouts is really a family affair, Troy.
Yep.
It's been a Hughes family breakout, right? With youngest, and you got Quinn Hughes and Jack Hughes, to me, are probably the big breakout stars of the first half of the season. And then even brother Luke is having a pretty decent rookie
Yep.
campaign, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yep.
So the Jack Hughes breakout really started last year,
Mm-hmm.
but I think has continued to gain more steam throughout 2023-24. So last season finished with 99 points, 43 goals. Now the only thing kind of like being the wet blanket here on the Jack Hughes breakout is injuries have been a little bit of an issue this year. He's currently hurt for the second time and will miss a number of weeks. But when you look at though, like even since the season started right around the 1st of October, 3,094 Hughes cards have sold in the secondary markets, including 203 for more than 500 US. And you compare that to the start of last year, so the same time period last season, and instead of 3,094 cards sold, it was 1,730. So it's almost doubled since then, and 68 cards had sold for more than 500 US compared to 203 this year. So he's probably unquestionably, or not. Well, I think he is unquestionably
Yeah.
the new star in the NHL, and he's just got to stay on the ice more.
Yep. Yeah. Every time I don't watch New Jersey a lot, but every time I see highlights or I watch a game with him, he always impressed me. Just everything he does, he's so good. Like puck control, puck protection. He's absolutely amazing.
Super fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's a 2019 Young Gun PSA 10 pop 4,554. Wow, a lot.
Wow.
75% gem rate. Last sold for 267 US on January 13th. Down about 5% in the past 2 weeks and 11% down in the past.
That's just not the card I want. If I'm gonna go investing route or whatever on this guy, that's just not the one I want. I'm gonna find something else.
So many other cards that I would prefer to, like, people say, well, what's a good option? I would look for like a card I really like as opposed to a Young Guns is an OPG Platinum Red Prism out of 199.
Yeah.
Gonna be a little bit more, but not ridiculous.
Yep.
So that's one I would look at there. Now, older brother Quinn probably has been the bigger surprise of the two.
Yeah.
Well, I know has been the bigger surprise of the two. Through 43 games played so far this year, he is already set a career record for goals in a season with 11,
Yep.
and he's pacing over 100 points. He has 51 points currently. So last season was Quinn's best to date, where he had 7 goals, 69 assists for 76 points in 78 games played. And if you look at really the 4.5 seasons he's played to this point in his career, he's been a really good player, but this year feels different. It feels like he's taken that superstar leap. His team is excelling. He was just named the Canucks captain prior to the season start, and I think he is a very serious Norris Trophy candidate. Oh, one thing on the captain too that when I was researching this that I hadn't noticed before or didn't know. First American-born captain in Vancouver franchise history. Quinn Hughes.
Cool.
Like his brother Jack, Quinn is riding a ton of hobby momentum. So I did the same sort of card sold analysis that I did with Jack. So looking at the start of the season, 2,492 Quinn Hughes cards have sold. I mean, that's just 500 less than or 600 less than his brother. 58 selling for more than $500 US. And if you look at the same time period last year, there's 915 Quinn Hughes cards sold. So that's almost 3 times less. And only 9 sales of more than $500 last year. So big hobby change as far as the Quinn Hughes chase goes. Now, the one kind of interesting thing is that I don't think he's eclipsed Makar. You know, I think if you ask every NHL GM or coach to pick a defenseman, they're probably picking Makar first still. But at least Quinn Hughes is making an argument. So Quinn Hughes of the 2019 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 2,169, 64% jam rate, less sold for $222 US January 13th, up 4% in the past 2 weeks and up 10% in the past month. And then I think the other thing you look at is he's having a breakout.
Yeah.
You know, this sustainability part of it, though, Troy. He's never really scored. I mean, he's got 11 goals and it's a career high already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still just not, as long as we've been researching now this hobby, I still don't know if I completely understand what the recipe for a long-term hobby success for a defenseman is, if there even is one.
Yeah.
Because I just worry he's never going to score enough goals.
Yeah, the defenseman and the goalies, you could probably just lump them in together. It seems like just a hodgepodge right now, and no one knows anything.
Okay, so those are our breakout guys, Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes. A little bit longer list and disappointments. Try not to be too repetitive in this too, and stuff we've talked about recently, but it's like we're going to breeze through some people. But I got to start in the disappointment side with my guy, Timmy Stützle here. He has 38 points in 38 games, so that's not bad. But he just has 7 goals.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the hobby here. And you got to be an elite goal scorer to be a hobby star. He had 39 goals last year. So I was really hoping he was young, right? So I'm 20 years old, 39 goals. Was really hoping that he would kick it up another notch this year. I think he just turned 21 like a few days ago, something like
that. He's 22.
Oh, he's 22.
Yeah.
Okay, just turned 22 a couple days ago. Gotcha. Now, of course, there's you look at what the beat writers are saying, the quotes out of the team, out of Stützle himself, and a lot of articles right now. There's one in the Athletic saying it's not about scoring goals, it's about winning, which I think is kind of funny because number one, he's not a friend of the hobby. Because come on, team, you got to score some goals, get your card values up. But then in the same article, though, he goes on to say his New Year's resolution is to shoot more, but it's not about goals or anything like that. I don't know. You know, maybe cutting him some slack, Troy. I'm not sure what you say when you're not scoring.
Yeah.
And a reporter asks you.
That sounds like a tongue-in-cheek thing because why would your hockey play be a New Year's resolution? Maybe it should be an all-year resolution. Like you're always working on your game, but I feel like that's like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing.
I think his team would be, I didn't do like a most disappointing teams, but Senators and maybe the Sabres would be a couple prime candidates for most disappointing teams with, you know, kind of teams that have some really young, pretty exciting talent that we're hoping would maybe take that next step this year and have not to date. They've already burned through their coach, which, you know, Sens fans would say was a long time coming, but I don't know. It's just with 7 goals and pacing for 14 goals on a year. That's not good.
Do you think it's due to the fact that he's diving and laying on the ice all the time?
Probably.
Just kidding, Sens fans. Just kidding.
Is that still a big issue, though? Is that
I don't know. I don't know if it was just a little blip and someone who I can't remember who the interviewer who was talking about him, and it kind of got some steam for a week or two. But diving's still an issue. But I think the NHL is one of the better ones. It's not like soccer. It's not like every time you get touched, you're falling over. But
and he is producing points, so it's not like he's not doing anything. But yeah, so he's a 2020 Young Guns. His PSA 10 pop 2,950. That's almost 3,000.
Yep.
Kind of crazy. 61% gem rate, less over 127 US on January 11th. Down about 2% in the past 2 weeks, and down about 5% in the past month. So I don't know, it might be a buying opportunity if you still have faith in Stützle.
Yeah.
All right, the next guy's kind of obligatory. I don't want to spend too much time on Ovi because I feel like we talk about him all the time, but he's still sitting at 8 goals and 19 assists for 27 points through 39 games. He's also a minus 11 and plus minus, whatever that's worth. But now the one thing I think is kind of interesting about his 8 goals and 19 assists is who'd have ever thought Ovi would have more than double the assists he has goals?
Yeah, that's crazy. I was just looking at his stats to see if that's ever had. No way. Not even close. He always has more, usually has more goals. There's a couple seasons.
Yeah, he's a sniper. He doesn't pass. Ovi don't pass. Now he's also battling a little bit of a lower body injury he sustained on January 5th. That's the older you get, these little nagging injuries, whether you miss a lot of time or not, it's just not good. And every week that goes by, Troy, I'm starting to personally feel like it's less likely this season has been a blip in the radar and more likely he's like fallen face first off the proverbial cliff here.
Yep.
And it's a bummer. A lot of things about, maybe like a theme for this midseason report is there's a lot of stuff that's really good. But man, it felt like the stars were aligned this season. And one of those was sort of like the the long victory lap until he breaks the goals record.
Yep.
And on a lot of the stuff, I feel like all the air was let out of the balloon like right away. I'm still holding hope he snaps out of it, but I'm starting to worry that that's not going to happen. I mean, a big second half would be really nice. And we've talked about it, right? There's the articles that say it's his like 2% shooting percentage, which is unsustainable. And he's still shooting a lot and blah, blah, blah. But it's never, ever been this hard for him to score goals. And to me, that's got to say something.
I just had to look it up. He's 64 behind tying Gretzky. So it's not happening this year. And it might not happen next year. And we'll see what happens with his health and if he wants to keep playing.
And that's where I get nervous too, and the whole like tongue in cheek stuff about how he never really takes care of himself, and he, that he kind of like bucks he's sort of like the anti Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't eat sugar, and he pounds Coke on the bench, right? And it's like, I don't know, maybe that catches up with you.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. So Ovi's a 2005-6 Young Guns PSA 10 pop, 1,190, 38% gem rate. Less over 4,000 US on January 7th. It is up about 5% in the past 2 weeks and up 1% in the past month. This card bounces around all over the place.
Yeah.
It's as low as like 3,500 and up to over 5,000. Just don't spend 5,000 on it. That's
please don't.
Next guy, Troy, and as far as like disappointments, I think you got to put Cole Caulfield on the list. There's a lot of hobby hoopla and hype.
No.
And he's got 12 goals in his first 42 games. That's like a 23 goal pace. Now, if you recall on our last episode in our social media post where we went through the players that sold the most hockey cards all of last year in 2023, Caulfield was tied with Connor Bedard for 5th most with 13,107 cards sold. He's got 12 goals and he's pacing for 43. That's not hobby elite at all. He's tied with Nick Suzuki for Canadians' goals lead and is currently 3rd on the team in points with 29 and 42 games played.
Hold on. I got to make sure I heard something right. So he's got 12 goals.
Yeah, he's pacing for like 23.
Okay. I thought you said 43. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I thought I totally screwed up the math.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that would be good.
Okay.
Well, the whole thing last year when he got hurt and why his values went crazy was he was pacing last year for 45
Yeah.
at the time he got hurt, and it was right about now, and now he's pacing for 23, and he's healthy.
Yeah.
And remember too, he's like the silver lining to the very mediocre to not so great 2022-23 hobby class. So when your silver lining is not turning out great, it's not super helpful. And he's always scored goals. I'm not like, I don't have, I guess, like long term, like he's never going to be good sort of feelings toward him. It's probably just a bad year, but not good timing. Never good timing in the hobby for a bad year.
So hold on. So are you saying that he's a 2021 rookie, right?
Yeah, but he was the silver lining to that whole class stinking. Is that, well, all
No,
these
22,
2022,
23 class is like Beniers, right? That's the Beniers class.
yeah. So
Okay.
poorly worded by me, but
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I got you.
yeah. So we have all these 2022
Yes.
sets
Yes.
coming out with Beniers and Boldy and all the Slavkovsky and Shane Wright who sits in the press box, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, at least we have Cole Caulfield.
Yeah, from the previous. Okay,
Now we don't even have Cole
100%.
Caulfield.
Yeah, cool. Now he's decided to take a
Think too.
turn.
So yeah, it's not. And a lot of people bought Cole Caulfield cards for a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
So I think he has to be on that list for most disappointing. Sorry, I didn't phrase that better. I was tempted to put Trevor Zegras on the list, but we've already talked about him, and I feel like it's like rubbing salt in the hobby wound at this point to do that. So we're gonna move on. So my three biggest disappointments are Stützle, Caulfield, and Ovi. Anyone else that
The whole Minnesota Wild team. Thanks.
Yeah, Kaprizov. There's a lot of people you could put on that, and I don't know if that's just this year or if it's you could do the same every year. But okay, now I have a special category of disappointment called the hobby panic button time.
Oh, I thought we were turning the corner with this guy, but it doesn't seem like it.
Juraj Slavkovsky, Troy.
Yep. Moved
So
him
he's
to
the number one
line.
overall pick, 2022 draft, right? Got up to a really slow start last. No, they played him right away, made the team at 18 years old.
Yep.
Somewhat controversial. He was not the consensus, like, slam dunk Connor Bedard type draft pick. I mean, very, I don't know if controversial is not the right word, but not a consensus number one. He last season had scored 4 goals and had 10 points total in 39 games before he got hurt. Knee injury is out for the year. This season's not been much better, Troy. He's played 42 games, has 4 goals again, 11 assists for 15 points. 19 years old, and so you can say a lot of things like, well, he's still raw. He's 19 years old. But when you're the number one overall pick in the NHL, you got to produce more than that. You just have to. It's not good, right? Now he might still turn it around, and hopefully that's the case. But yeah, and when you go back to the draft, and again, him not being necessarily a slam dunk, the Canadians picked him over guys like Logan Cooley, who I think I'd rather have. They picked him over Flyers fan favorite Cutter Gauthier. And then you look at the guy that the Devils took right after him. Is it Simon Nemec or?
Yeah, I would say Simone, but I think I'm wrong. I'm always wrong. So
Nemec has 8 points in 19 games played. He didn't start this season with the Devils, and he plays defense, and he's scoring at a better rate than Slavkovsky. Now, the scariest thing to me too about this, Troy, again going back to, he has 4 goals and 15 points in 42 games. You know who his line mates are? It's Caulfield and Suzuki.
Yeah, we talked about when they moved him to the first line, how this was the turning point, right? This was going to be his kind of coming out. He's gonna get on that first line, and I actually think it worked. Now it still might be working because they haven't moved him off it, but it's just not being a point producing for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you 100%. You have those two guys, and you think we'd get a little more point production.
He's on the first power play unit too.
Yeah. Wow. It's not for lack of trying then, I guess.
So going back to our guy Caulfield for a minute, can you make the argument that maybe Slavkovsky is costing Caulfield
Oh,
points?
geez. Maybe.
That would be bad. I don't want to go that far. I don't know. Are you hitting the hobby panic button on this guy?
I don't think I am, just for the fact that he's still young and he had to deal with an injury. And it's only his, second year. So I don't think I'm hitting the panic yet. But if next year is another down year, then I might be slamming that button.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of degrees to maybe. I don't know if like the panic button's the right word, but do you think that his ceiling is definitely lowered at this point?
Well, it's
he's not
definitely
gonna
lowered
be
for sure.
Jack Hughes 3 years from now. I don't think. Do you? I mean, he always could be, right? There's always a chance.
Yeah, there's always could be, but from what I've
but
seen.
What have we seen?
Yeah, no. Yep.
Now, we also don't get to see him play every day.
Yep.
So one of the things I want to mention is would love to hear from some Montreal fans that do watch the team real closely. Let us know. Message us, because, from the outside looking in, it just doesn't seem great.
Yeah.
Slavkovsky is a 2022-23 Young Guns PSA 10 pop, 435, 32% gem rate, last sold for $202 on January 10th. Still $200. It's mind blowing.
So what do we know? Maybe the hobby knows more than we do.
Yeah, it's up about 33% since right before Christmas. Okay, next category is I want to talk about some rookies and how they're doing so far. And these are rookies that are not named Connor.
Not named Bonner.
Do look like the real deal. So this will be kind of quick hitters here. Not a lot of experience or data, but the biggest benefactor from, I guess, hobby shine, given Bedard's injury, could be Adam Fantilli. He's playing pretty well lately too. So he's got 11 goals, 14 assists for 25 points in 43 games played. Currently second to Bedard in the rookie scoring leaders race, as play's been picking up as of late too. So pretty exciting. The hobby factor is going to be the whole Columbus thing here, but it's nice to see him off to a good start. Then we mentioned briefly before Luke Hughes, keeping in line toward the family name. He's been really good so far as a rookie. So again, he's a defenseman. 7 goals, 16 assists for 23 points in 40 games played. So, I don't know, 14 goals and almost 50 points for a rookie defenseman. I'd take that. Pretty dang good. It's almost like a half a point per game. Now, and I think too with the Bedard injury, he could be in line for the Calder race as well. Now, Hughes does have a rookie card, of course. He's a 2023-24 Series 1 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 137, 31% gem rate. That's sold for $231 US on January 13th, down about 12% since the start of the month. So he's still in like honeymoon pricing for his Young Guns.
Because we're just starting to get those back. And
go find this card for $200.
Yep.
If what was the Quinn Hughes Young Guns? Like something like 100 and...
Was it 101? No.
Oh, it's 222. So I don't see Luke. Yeah, Luke right now is $9 more. He's played 40 games. So, but again, there's only 137 of them. If he continues to play well, there'll be 10 times that a year from now or more. Another rookie that looked pretty good is Leo Carlson. Before his knee injury, showing a lot of promise. He's only played 23 games this year, 8 goals, 7 assists for 15 points. That's pretty good given he plays on a terrible team.
Yep.
Now he is back to practicing, which is 3 weeks into his knee injury. So hopefully he'll make it back on the ice soon. I think they said like 4 to 6 weeks he would be out. So he's kind of getting to that point where he would be back, but he's looked pretty good so far. Then the next guy, Troy, is our guy Logan Cooley.
Yep.
Former Golden Gopher. Only has 3 goals, which is disappointing. But he does have 17 assists. So he's got 20 points in 41 games played. Kind of makes you excited about his future. His 20 points has him tied for 6th in the rookie points race. We found out a few weeks ago Cooley's Young Guns will be an extended series, so look forward to that. And one thing that I am impressed with is unlike a guy like Slavkovsky, who's in the first power play unit playing with guys like Suzuki and Caulfield, is Logan Cooley's kind of been producing on the third line, and he's not getting any power play minutes. So as they kind of elevate him in the lineup a little bit more, hopefully he continues to produce better. And then the last guy tried that I had here is Connor Zary. Might be the biggest rookie surprise so far. I love this photo, by the way.
Yep. Well, this photo, and I'm going to take a step back. This one of Carlson, if you actually can find this photo, it looks amazing. The color and the jersey looks so awesome.
Yeah.
Like this makes you want to go buy this jersey. It looks so cool. But anyway,
very cool jersey. So this is like the guy that's come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like,
I don't know.
I almost kind of did a who.
Yeah. And some of these guys too, like these rookies, especially at the beginning of the year, you can have like a really good 2 weeks and skyrocket up the rookie scoring leaderboard and then sort of fade away and never be that relevant again. But he's kind of keeping it going. He's been very consistent too. He's 22 years old, Flames rookie center, currently 5th in rookie scoring with 9 goals, 13 assists for 22 points and only 33 games played. So a lot of these other rookies have played 40 games. So he's got 22 points in 33 games. Pretty good. He was Troy the 24th overall pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft. Has spent the last couple of seasons in the AHL with was it the Wranglers? Is that the Calgary's AHL team?
That's a good question. Probably. Sounds right. Anything related to Cowboys and the Stampede, I'll go with.
His start has been so good. He's just the 3rd Flames player in 30 years to record 20 points in his first 31 or fewer games. Now, sometimes we go through these PR stats, and it's like, he's like the 7th player on a Sunday who's wearing a blue hat to wear. But yeah, 20 points in less than 31 games. The other 2 guys that did it are Johnny Hockey and Jerome McGinley. So
interesting.
I was company there.
I was looking up Zary, and man, his shooting percentage. OV was what, 2%? This guy's at 23%. I'm guessing it will.
So now is that maybe elevating? Sometimes you just get good puck luck, right?
You get lucky. There's a stat for it. It's called PDO. It means absolutely nothing. It's just what it's called. It's called PDO. It means nothing except go read about it. It tries to measure luck, is what it does.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So should that be a caution then? Because there's no way that you sustain that.
That's what my thing is. It's probably going to revert. Is the thing. And look. Okay, I'm going to get on a little tangent here. No matter what, at the end of the day, shooting percentage plus save percentage has to equal 100%. So if you're on a team, you can look at it individually. You can look at your team. Say your team shooting percentage is, we'll say 20%, and your team's save percentage is 90% for a total of 110. At some point, it's going to revert. It has to revert. Basically, is what it's trying to say. It's going to always try. It's always going to force itself to that 100. It's just, you got to read the math behind it, but it's pretty interesting.
Is that like regression to the mean? Is that what that's called?
Yeah, kind of.
So again, I got to look, kind of maybe keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And because we are so popular in Calgary, right? Let's cater to the Flames.
There you go, Calgary.
You can't talk about rookies though without Bedard. So I made my own category for Bedard and wanted to kind of take maybe a new angle that we haven't covered. And so I came up, Troy, with the Bedard, the good, bad, and ugly for the first half of the 2023 season. So let's be positive. We're going to start with the good. And to me, the good is he is pretty good, right? And through 39 games played, 15 goals, 18 assists for 33 points to lead all rookie scorers. He's shown flashes of elite shot making and goal scoring abilities throughout his first 40 games or so. I don't think he is a bust, or he's going to be a bust. I think we've all seen enough to be pretty confident that he does have elite level talent. Now, does that mean he's as good as Connor McDavid at this point? No. But again, he's 18, still got a lot to learn. I just think that when you look at the on-ice performance, it's been, especially offensively, it's hard to be completely disappointed by his start. Do you feel the same way?
Agree 100%. If we only care about in this hobby goals and offensive production, he, I think, has done great.
Yeah. the hobby's responding to, right? There's no indication that the hyper hoopla or fervor is any less than it has been. You got his Series 1 NHL Draft Easter egg PSA 10 selling for more than 10 grand. Artifact redemptions are going for huge amounts. The Upper Deck does those on demand, like game dated cards, and they sell out instantly. You know, again, it doesn't look like he's going to be setting rookie scoring records, but there's nothing about his play that is cooling the hobby momentum at this point. So that's the good. The bad, in my mind, is his injury. We talked about already last week or the week before. Thankfully, it's not like a knee, a back, or like concussion issues that could hamper his career or be more long term. But in your rookie campaign, missing 6 to 8 weeks sucks. It's now what we want, and hopefully he'll be able to find his way back sooner. Apparently, you know, you see the articles, right? He's pushing the training staff hard to come back and driving him crazy. So I guess that's a good sign.
That's my
hate injuries.
Yeah, we talked about him, right? When previously, like months ago, about how it seems like he almost does too much stuff. This kind of plays into that, where he just can't stay. He's probably going crazy because hockey is his life and he can't do it right now.
So that brings us, Troy, to the ugly.
Okay.
And it's kind of a two-part.
Nice picture. I love it. All right.
Part one is the Blackhawks suck.
Yes, they're terrible.
They're just terrible. They're 12, 29, and 2 and have 26 points on the season. I think a lot of people have watched a lot of Blackhawks games, you know, with the attention for Bedard, and it's not pretty. Like, I've seen some power plays with them that, like, they don't even possess the puck in the offensive zone. Only San Jose has fewer points with 23, so than the Blackhawks 26 on the season. Also, the Blackhawks, Troy, are negative 61 in goal differential, which of course means they've scored 61, or they've given up 61 less goals than they've scored. As a point of context,
no, other way around, right? They've given up 61 more goals than they've scored.
More goals than they've scored. Yeah, sorry. As a point of context, the Canucks lead the NHL in goal differential at plus 55.
Who would have thunk that, man? Holy cow!
Who would have thunk that? The Blackhawks have also scored the second fewest goals in the NHL with 97. Now, the number one overall pick doesn't normally go to a good team. You know, you don't get the number one pick because you're winning the Stanley Cup. But it's been pretty brutal. And you have to wonder, if they were any better, how much better could a Bedard be, too? Yeah. Right? Like, when you're the opposing coaching staff and you're scouting and you have a game 2 days from now and you're playing the Blackhawks, I would assume that all of your defensive attention is going to Bedard. So, I mean, maybe that's like also a way to compliment him a little bit. Like, I think he's probably getting the best defensive players matchups, right? Like, on the other team. So he's succeeding despite that. It's not like he's on the Oilers where, you know, they're kind of hiding him between like McDavid and Draisaitl a little bit too. So, yeah, long story short, the Blackhawks stink. Their other rookies aren't doing great too. You got Reichel. Who's disappeared. Korchinski isn't doing that. I'm kind of high on him. He's so fast and kind of, when he has confidence, very aggressive offensively. Then even beyond that, there's the whole Corey Perry thing. Right. So, I mean, that's kind of been a weird part of the season as well. And just the whole thing around the Blackhawks has been a little bit ugly. Now, I said it was a two-part thing because maybe the biggest, fairest point to criticize Bedard, but it could also be a team thing too, is his defense also ugly at this point? And when you look at some of the data, it's not real good. And now defense is, you know, it's a team game. You're not out there by yourself, of course. But so far, he's a negative 22 in plus minus or minus 22. And then when you look at like that net rating for the Athletic, where that picture's funny, his hair. So his net rating is like +6 on the offensive side. Defensive, he's like -9. And when you look at the on ice component of it, like when it looks at like goals scored against, he's in like the 4th and 1st percentile for NHL players. So I'm assuming that now, do you think he still wins the Selke because he's Connor Bedard, or does this hurt his chances? Right?
I don't know if the voters look at this. If they do look at this, then it hurts his chances. But I don't think he's winning a Selke.
Well, do you know what like goals and X goals means on this?
Expected goals.
Expected.
X goals would be expected goals. Basically, I don't know how the whole formulas work, but you can basically take every NHL game, add up expected goals based on a bunch of factors, and you could predict a score would be 6-3. And then a lot of people like sports bettors will use that. They'll have these models that can produce these expected goals. And then to get them, they're like what they should bet or what their fair odds should be. But then like you look at players too, if I'm expected to score 40 goals, but I'm scoring 10, what's going on? Why am I stinking?
Now, how do you, I suppose the only way to really judge is to do like a total film breakdown of it and kind of do an assessment of his defensive play, because when you just look at the data, the team part factors into that as well,
Yeah,
right? Like he
for
can, you
sure.
can be a good or above average defensive player, and if the other guys you're on the ice with are terrible and the goalie stinks, you're not going to have great defensive numbers, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's probably a little bit tough to tell, but I think it's worth bringing up because assuming that, they're going to stink this year, have more higher draft picks, they'll be aggressive in free agency. Hopefully within a couple of years, they'll be pretty good. And if he's a defensive liability at that point, it could become a real issue.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would add in good, bad, or ugly for Connor Bedard?
No, I think I'm happy that he was playing well. I'm not happy he got injured. And we'll see how the defensive stuff plays out. Again, he's 18. I don't think they're probably not worried about the defense part right now. They were more worried about just producing, getting offense. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I want to acknowledge kind of the blue chip hobby guys, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's really, other than OV's struggles, there's not really anything earth shattering going on. Other than McDavid got off to a very slow start and of course has now 57 points in 37 games. How is that even possible?
Yep.
Wasn't he like 100th in scoring after like the first month?
I think so. And then he's like, all right, enough of this. I think the next guy, though, you could probably, there's some stuff there that I think it's a surprise, complete surprise.
Yeah. The whole Crosby thing has been pretty awesome and probably not talked about enough. And maybe we need to spend more time on it.
Yeah.
He does have 44 points in 41 games played, 24 goals, which is pretty impressive. I just don't know what it means at this point in his career, right?
Yeah,
I don't think
he doesn't cement anything. He's already one of the greatest ever to play.
It's just an awesome story, right? And love to see him doing well. We talked about Ovi, 8 goals, 39 games, not good. And then the Austin Matthews redemption tour, right? 33 goals. I haven't looked. Is that tops in the NHL still?
I do not know.
It'd be probably him or
I'll look while you talk.
Yeah. So he's still pacing for, 65, 70 goals for the year, which is pretty good.
Yeah, he's still leading. 33. Sam Reinhardt second with 31.
Okay.
And then Kucherov for 28. It's just a gong show. It's a gong show leaderboard, baby.
There you go. All right. I do want to spend more time, though, on kind of the comeback kids, right? That was the next category that I came up with. So you've got Laffy, who we were pretty critical, especially in the first year of the program.
Oh, yeah.
And deservedly so, right? He's kind of in that Slavkovsky. And we might have to, we do have the Halfkovsky jokes, but now the difference, though, is that Upper Deck, like, really marketed the crap out of this guy. Like, he was their signature athlete. You notice too, because it wasn't like Shane Wright, that guy for 2022. They really backed off that pretty hard.
Yep.
Didn't see him plastered all. Like, I didn't see the Shane Wright rookie box set.
No.
Oh, speaking of that, I saw David Adams. The Laffy box set, Troy, is I think less than $5 right now.
Wow.
Like $4.95 or something like that.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, it kind of makes sense. But maybe
well,
it's a good buy now because he's starting to. Some things are clicking, I think.
Yeah, so you talk about Laffy because you had looked up some stuff.
Yeah. So you look at Laffy, and yes, we were very, very harsh on him, but now he's starting to gel. Seems like he's kind of coming around. I'm wondering if he heard our show probably and heard us ripping on him and said, enough of this. Now I'm going to show him what I can do. But I think Laffy, so currently 10 goals, 15 assists for 25 points in 41 games played. So that's good. I think that's a start. It's not a super low amount. Again, it's not a super large amount. It's just he's starting to play well. Now he still has his streaks. So he hasn't scored a goal in his last 8 games, but he's still getting points via assists, which is good. He's helping the team. And he also had a 12-game goal scoring slump earlier this season. So again, he's a young career. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be the huge goal scorer maybe, but he might be a good goal scorer, and the assists are coming. And I think he's on the score sheet a little bit more. And I think all this is just contributing to a really good year. We heard what was it about his play? Like he was buried on like third or fourth line, stuff like that. But I think he's starting to show a little promise. And I'm pretty excited to see what Laffy does in the next couple of years. Because I've always said I always hope he just shoves it down our throats and scores and gets like 80, 90 points. Because we would have never predicted that.
Doesn't necessarily make a hobby star though. And I'm not trying to be like cold about the whole situation, but to have like a sustained sort of like chase and momentum in the hobby, you have to do some elite level stuff. And yeah, it looks like there's hope that he'll have a salvageable career. He's not going to be like an all-time bust and maybe even a good career, but that doesn't mean that he'll be a hobby star either, right? Going forward. I mean, there's a lot of guys that produce way more than him that have no hobby. Look at a guy like Mikko Rantanen, who's ripping it up again this year. So I'm happy that maybe he'll have like a solid NHL career and maybe be a top 6 guy at some point. But same thing with Slavkovsky. I don't see the dynamic superstar at this point either.
Yeah.
So, but it is
Did you see him as a high scoring checking line guy?
Yeah. And again, it just comes back to like how you come into the league, right? If you're a 7th round pick or a free agent signee that didn't have a lot of expectations, that's being a high scoring checking line guy is awesome, right?
Yeah.
But when you're the number 1 overall pick and you're hyped to the bejesus by Upper Deck, it's just not living up to expectations. But it is a step in the right direction, and hey, hopefully he proves us all wrong and becomes a superstar. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, Josh, another guy, step in the right direction. Quentin Byfield. This one actually, I was surprised because I don't follow the Kings that much. When I looked up his stat line, 12 goals, 18 assists, 30 points in 39 games. I'd have never guessed yes, it's a little bit away from a point per game player, but at least it's kind of approaching it. It really surprised me when I saw this one. On pace for 63 points. And his current point total is a career high. So that's good. I don't know what the game's played, but it's Byfield. I'm on record. I was never that big of a fan of his. I watched him a lot with the Canadian team during, I can't remember what World Juniors. I just never thought he put in the effort. And it looks like things are kind of turning around. 30 points in 39 games, pretty good for a guy that had a couple rough years.
And then the other guy that we had in comeback kids is Marco Rossi. We've talked a ton about. But he's like what, 2nd or 3rd in rookie scoring.
Yeah.
He's still a rookie because he had 1 point in 19 games last year, and the Wild sent him back to the AHL, which kind of kept him Calder eligible.
Yep.
But he's been one of the more consistent Wild players. He's got speed. The Wild desperately need and a point producing center. And so, while the year's been a total disaster for our team, this has probably been the bright spot, I would say, for us. And here I'm going to talk myself out of my own argument here. But, as I'm looking at this list and I'm listening to you, Troy, you know what hit me is what's the one thing all 3 of these guys have in common? See if you can guess.
Are they I don't know.
their start to their careers was massively impacted by COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that is something. And not by the disease itself, but just how it screwed up everything.
Played
and
out.
No training camps and playing in bubbles and no minor league, seasons and European seasons and all that stuff. And well, Marco Rossi for sure, because he had long COVID and missed a year of hockey because of it. But these are all really young guys that came into the league in a very unique and not ideal circumstance, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I will say this: every time I watch Rossi, I think he's just on the cusp of getting blown up and being injured because he's a tiny guy. He's super tiny. He's tinier than Bedard, I think. And I just get worried he's going to get crunched and get injured.
Well, that's a good segue into my next little category here, and it's
there we go.
The hobby toll of injuries. And I don't know if this is like recency bias, Troy, and if it's, again, you'd have to study and do a detailed comparison year to year. But man, when you look at the injuries right now, it sucks. It's taken a bite out of the 23-24 hobby momentum. So you've got Bedard injured, Leo Carlsson injured, right? Maybe Carlsson was the second best rookie by far. I think he's producing points better than Bedard's clip until he got hurt. Zegras, which we've talked about. Jack Hughes can't stand the ice. Our guy Kaprizov has had injury after injury, and I think is just coming back right now. And I'm probably forgetting a few, but these are like the top chased guys that are, can't stay on the ice right now. And that, like I said, I don't know. It's probably like this every year. You're just sort of a captive of the moment sort of thing, but I don't know. Does it feel like there's more injuries right now to you?
It does, but I'm wondering if it's just more injuries to hobby guys than in the past. But it does, but I have no clue if it actually is.
Can you see like the Kaprizov, like they disclosed his injuries that his broken ribs?
Wow.
So can he he's checked from behind that hard that it broke his ribs?
That's crazy. I did not see that, but man, yeah, this stinks. It just injuries are dumb.
Okay, last category, kind of the fun one, the hardest one, right? Second half breakthrough candidates. I didn't feel like there was like somebody like jumping out. This was tough. Like I had to sit and think about this for a long time.
This one, the guy you've talked about first came to my mind because I watched the Wild play Arizona and he looked pretty good. So I was like, oh, maybe him.
Yeah, and I kind of loaded up on him in the offseason. So fairness and conversation there. But Clayton Keller, just 25. So getting into that prime of his career. Last year, he had a career best 37 goals, 86 points. So far this year, he's got 17 goals, 21 assists for 38 points in 41 games played. Already a 4-time All-Star. He was just named to the All-Star team again. So he'll have one of those 4-colored Bieber jerseys, right?
Yep.
Plus, are the Coyotes actually approaching relevancy as the team in the NHL? They have a winning record at this point.
They have a winning record, and I still see stuff pop up all the time about just their arena, how small it is, how it's crazy if you go to a game there. I think they are. I think they are becoming relevant.
Yeah. So right now they're 21, 18, and 2, and last season they finished 28, 40, and 14. They had 14 overtime losses last year.
Wow.
Jeez. So I don't know. I mean, he's a guy, man. I wouldn't say he's a slam dunk. He's kind of getting to the point where he's at 25, where it's like it's now or never for hobby superstar sort of thing. So he'd probably have to have a really big second half. But yeah. So he's a 2017 Young Guns PSA 10. I actually, this floored me. His PSA 10 pop count is 135.
Really?
Yes. And I actually looked it up on the PSA site to verify it because I'm like, this has to be a mistake. 44% gem rate. Last sold for only $81 US on December 14th. I mean, it was a month ago because there's only 135 of them. It is down 53% in the past 3 months, which is kind of crazy as well. So maybe start submitting those Clayton Keller Young Guns if you're.
Yeah, there's a picture of it. Sorry, I forgot to add those, but
Oh no, worries.
there's a picture if anyone's looking for it.
Kind of we don't see the 2017, 2018 guys a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, though, here's a 2018 guy. He's my second candidate. I wonder if this will make Phil Log Collector happy.
Yes.
Could it be possible to have a? Oh, you didn't go with the photo I picked.
No, because I know why. Then it wasn't in the folder, and I just went and found one because there was like 6 or 7 of them. I think what happens is they might not get up. I feel like they don't get uploaded. Because I go back to the drive too and look, and they weren't in there. But I feel like you probably tried to upload them, and something always happens with Google Drive.
Okay. Well, next time I had picked out the greatest Brady Tkachuk photo ever that you would literally laugh your butt off. Okay, he's 24 years old. He's the younger Tkachuk brother. Leads the Senators in goals with 18. Also leads them in penalty minutes with 88. You don't see that combo very often.
Nice.
Like feisty, got the Tkachuk feistiness. If again, I don't think there's a slam dunk right now. The biggest thing that would prevent a Tkachuk hobby breakout is probably the perennial disappointing nature of his team, wouldn't you say? And this comes from a Wild fan, so we're not laughing at you, Sens fans. We're laughing
with you because we're terrible too.
So last year he finished with a career at 35 goals, and he could beat that this year. Maybe get closer to that magical 40 goal number. He's a 2018 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 752, 65% gem rate, last over $77 in January 8th, down about 20% in the past 2 weeks, and down about 4% over the past month. So probably there's a big sale and just sort of normalized after that. That's why I guess I don't think he's done anything to merit a 20% decrease. Then the other guy I came up with is maybe a little more on the sneaky side, under the radar. But I don't know if this stats surprise you, Troy. Seth Jarvis, 21-year-old, 13th overall pick in the 2020 NHL draft. Carolina Hurricanes, having a pretty good season for a 21-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 15 goals, 17 assists for 32 points in 42 games played. So he's pacing for 30 goals. Not bad for 21 years old. On a really good team. And we've talked a little bit about this before, how Carolina, the last couple of years, they're sort of a Stanley Cup favorite, but from the hobby point of view, they just don't have that top tier guy or that star. And I don't know. Could Jarvis be that guy? He seems to have the confidence of Carolina coach Rod Brind'Amour.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know a ton about him, so I'm not going to start. All I know is what I've read over the last few days. But what I can tell you is that, looking back at like the Andrei Kuzmenko, who's like not in the favor of Rick Tocchet, versus even like Bobby Brink, who Torts seems to like, you can tell by the quotes that come from the coaches and general managers and unnamed team sources how the team feels about the guy. And it seems like that there's a lot of positive quotes about Jarvis right now and how he seems to kind of excel in every position they put him in. Will he be a 50 goal scorer? I don't know, but I don't know if he gets to 35 goals or something like that by the end of the year as a 21-year-old on a really good team that maybe has a deeper playoff run. He could be a guy that could have a little bit of a breakthrough, especially where he's at right now, Troy, because he's a 2021 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 320, 64% gem rate, $50 is what it sold for January 11th. It's been flat over the past month. So pretty kind of cheap way to get into a breakthrough candidate too. Did I miss anyone breakthrough wise?
Oh, I don't think so. That was a long segment. Holy cow.
I'm exhausted.
That might be the longest one ever.
We're going to pause and take a nap and come back. We haven't even got to the meat of the episode, right? Which is right now as we kind of transition to new product releases.
Yeah.
So the annual Certified Diamond Dealer Conference at Upper Deck Throws was in LA last week. And so if you're a local card shop and you're part of the Certified Diamond Dealer program, you can go. It sounds like $500 to go, which is kind of crazy. How many
they charge them?
Yeah, they just $500.
Wow.
You get like your meals and drinks and all that stuff, but
I'll hold off on that one. But holy cow, I can't believe they charge them.
So, and we're not a certified diamond dealer, so
No, we are not.
We're definitely not. And so I don't exactly know what happens there, but I know that they have a bunch of sessions, and one of the things that they do is preview kind of what's upcoming for their local card shops. And one of the things that they shared, it appears, because we saw this in a number of places, is, and if you're watching us on YouTube, you're looking at sort of somebody took a picture of the overhead screen, the checklist for Series 2. Very interesting, Troy.
Yes.
Not very shocking. We'll get through the obvious stuff. Bedard appears will be a Series 2 Young Gun, which we've all assumed and pretty much been confirmed by Upper Deck. Card 451, which is the first Young Guns in Series 2. Leo Carlson, we talked about, had a great start before being injured. Card 468.
Yep.
But the story, though, is not who's on the list, but who's not.
Yep.
So we already knew that there would be no Logan Cooley because he was in the extended series, like sell sheets or previews.
Yep.
But on this list, Troy, there's no Adam Fantilli either.
Yep.
Which I gotta admit, I'm pretty shocked by, to be honest with you.
Well, to me, I was like, okay, I always think about the checklist, like the checklist that they put out. You get the 2 big chases, you put them in each set, and then you put them on the checklist, call it good. So maybe Carlson and Fantilli are the 2 extended series guys, and they'll be on the Young Guns checklist and call it good.
Yeah, there's a couple other interesting rookies. I just want to cover our bases before we kind of really dive into the juicy questions that this, I think, brings up. So you'll have Matthew Poitras, who had a couple good weeks, but then was loaned out to the World Junior Championship. So that means he's not super valuable at this point to the Bruins. Connor Zary, we've talked about. He'll be on there. Ty, is it Kartai from the, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, for the Kraken, who's been okay. Korchinski, who has promised, but it's kind of stunk. So that means that we're going to have Fantilli in extended series.
Yep.
So I think that I want to kind of tackle this both from the Series 2 side and then the extended series. We'll start with Series 2. So the 2 big Young Guns are going to be Bedard, of course, and then Carlson, who plays for the Ducks, is European. I don't know, wasn't a ton of hype around him and has been hurt, even though he played pretty good. We also don't know, like, what other cards will be in there. There'll be some kind of cool Young Gun canvas cards or other Easter eggs or special cards that might build hype into the box. But, Troy, at $300 a box, now with no Cooley or no Fantilli, it's just not very exciting to me.
It would disappoint me, but the $300, 99% of that's Bedard. People know that. I could be disappointed, but I think Bedard's 99% of that price.
It is, of course, but here's where I think that really impacts collectors and people that are buying these boxes. Remember, there's 50 Young Guns on the checklist. Now, the Bedard and Carlson are the Young Guns checklist too, so there's technically 2 Bedard cards, but even those checklists never go for a lot. You're gonna have to buy, 8 1/3 boxes on average to get a Bedard Young Guns, right? And so to me, the saving grace at a $300 pre-sale is, if I don't get the 1 in 8 plus boxes that has a Bedard Young Guns, well, I'll get a Fantilli or a Cooley or some other cards that, maybe give me a little bit of ROI in the box. I just think a lot of people are going to get smoked financially on these if there's no Bedard Young Guns canvas. There's no.
Yeah, I think they're getting smoked anyways. This isn't.
You hit a Bedard Young Guns, you're going to make your money back on the box probably.
Yeah, but this, I don't know. This doesn't bother me that much.
It drives me crazy. Well,
guess who doesn't have any boxes ordered? Me too. I don't have any.
Well, that's the other thing. So let's say in the past month or two, and again, you can't fault Upper Deck on this because they don't make promises like this in pre-orders. But had you pre-ordered a case for $3,000 or $3,500, now you find out there's no Cooley or Fantilli in Series 2. Probably don't feel as good about that at this point, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you can live and
maybe
learn,
people don't care. Maybe to your point, it's all about Bedard. But then
No,
that
I
brings me
think
to
there's some truth to the whole. It's just one less guy, one less big guy that maybe we thought would be in this release. That's not there now.
well, but if you kind of came into this year with the dream of the loaded Series 2 that would have Fantilli, Cooley, Bedard, and Carlson, and you get 6 young guns in a box, and there's 4 out of the 50 are, you know, high level guys, your odds of hitting a top tier young guns are pretty good at $300 a box. Now it's dramatically less. It's half, right? At this
Yeah.
point. Which then brings over to extended series. Looks pretty good, right? You're gonna have Cooley, Fantilli young guns, Bedard young guns canvas. You have the young guns
Mhm.
acetates that are now in extended series that they moved from SP Authentic. You get the retro Young Guns parallels, so who knows? There'll be a Bedard retro Young Guns. You got the tribute inserts that we see for like Black Diamond and SPX. So I don't know, Troy.
Do you
I
think
might
they
I might be a bigger fan of extended at this
do you
point.
think they
than Series 2.
shifted those? They shifted to extended to drive the extended box prices up.
Oh, 100%. Well, I don't know if the price, but just to make it more
Yeah.
to sell more of it. Yeah, and now it kind of begs the question for me: what's extended series going to cost? Right? Could we see $200+ boxes of
Yeah, the
extended? I don't
first
know what the
thing
price is.
my first thought was 200 is where my brain went. I hope it's not. Maybe 150, 175. I don't know, but we'll see.
Smaller Young Guns checklist, and I don't know if they'll do like those draft cards like they did, which is
Yeah.
basically like the thing about that is if you look at like the Beniers and Boldy and Slavkovsky sort of first round pick cards, that's
Mm-hmm.
essentially what the Bedard Easter egg is.
Mm-hmm.
So if they do that, what does that do to the Bedard Easter egg? If it kind of that thing pumped out and mass produced. Yeah, I don't know. A couple other kind of interesting notes that have come out of the conference that I found. So it looks like Upper Deck might be bringing back Skybox 2000 EX, which is I think where you get the essential credentials cards. So we might have more hockey essential
Is
credentials.
this another set or is it part of Skybox Metal?
I think it's might be a set or an insert set at the very least. It
If
was
it's an insert, yay. If it's another set, stop it. You have too many sets.
Then I saw something from one of our local card shops here in Bloomington that you know of. Rhymes with 3 stars. So they had posted they were at the conference on their Instagram that, and I'm just kind of quoting them. So we got to like decipher this. That ingrained hockey featuring artifacts and signatures of NHL alumni is in the works.
Awesome.
So
I'm all in.
So that could be the follow up to SP Signature Edition Legends. It looks like
I will spend $300 a box on that over Series 2.
Troy's excited. Never a dull moment, Troy. Never a dull moment. The other thing I want to highlight real quick is we did have a new release come out on Friday, 2022-23 Ice. Bought a couple boxes. Did open them up, videotaped them. We already have our first box, our pack video opening videos on Instagram out. So be sure to check those out if you want to see kind of the hits that we get from Ice. I know you don't like the logo, Troy, but after opening a couple boxes, I actually really like the product. And I think for what it is, again, it's a 2022 product. So you can have the greatest cards in the world. And if
Yeah.
the rookies aren't great, what do you do? So I think you have to keep that in mind. But I think the thing I like the most about it is the price, $125. And it made me think too that it's not a bad box for kids, especially. Like if you're
Yeah.
looking for a birthday present and you don't want to spend $400 on a box for your kid, but kids like a lot of color and shiny cards, and the base cards are kind of a blue and have some silver foiling in them, which are really nice. It like any box, it comes down to your hits, kind of who you get. We looked at last week top sales. Their RPAs, the 101s, which are obviously tough to hit, have ridiculous patches, look really
Yeah.
nice. But my biggest beef, and it was reinforced by opening our boxes, is these ice premieres are such important cards that I just feel like they're getting watered down so much by having all these tiers and then,
Yeah.
starting them at 1,299. And obviously the out of 99s are the big ones. But then what's really just driving me crazy are the parallels. So you can get a guy that's out of 299 out of sort of like the base ice premieres, but then get an out of 99 parallel of that guy.
Yeah, I
It
think
just
that
confuses
was
the whole thing. I
yeah,
don't understand it.
yeah, and I think I will say in our Discord, there's some very good thoughts on ice, and I think it was more negative the reaction we got in our Discord of the set. But yeah, there's some things I don't like about it, but I watched the pack opening videos because I haven't seen I don't even know what cards we got, so I just learn as we go.
Yeah, but as far as like quality control, it looks pretty good. Like the quality looks good. The cards in general, a lot of like print technology in there, really flashy, shiny type stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so it's hard to be too critical on Upper Deck. To me, the big problems are way too many ice premieres. They got to just cool it on those and find something else to put in
Yeah.
its place. And then it's just these 2022 guys. It's like, you could hit a huge Slavkovsky card at this point. He's got 4 goals.
What about moving ice premieres to another set and then ending ice?
I don't know.
I'm on this big kick now. There's too many sets.
Yeah, maybe. All right, got to make a quick mention before we move on to Mailbag for PWCC. Of course, they sponsor our show. We're very grateful to them. So the Premier Auction is finally live. Runs through the evening of the 25th. There's 2 hockey cards in this month's Premier Auction. Both are monsters, like with any PWCC Premier cards. So the first one, Troy, 2015-16 Upper Deck Black, which there's a set that they now just include in other products. Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, Pro Penmanship Dual Autos out of 5, BGS 9.510. So rookie year McDavid out of 5 with Gretzky Dual Autos. That's a big card.
It's a good card.
Wouldn't mind having that. And then another card is one we've seen before, but I think this is a very unique copy of this card and special one. It's the 1997 Upper Deck game jersey Wayne Gretzky Auto, 99 out of 99. So jersey numbered. It's a PSA 6 with an Auto 9. So it's the first card that has a Gretzky jersey or patch auto. It's also the second ever patch jersey auto card ever produced. Wow. So this was in Series 2 in 1997. In Series 1, there's a Patrick Waugh version, which I think is really valuable too, because that one might be, I don't remember. I think might be a little bit tougher to find than the Gretzky one even. So I'll be fascinated to see what this goes for, given that it's the jersey number. And the jersey itself is just like the McDavid one that we looked at before. It's not like a napkin patch, right? It's a 3-color. Could be a patch, probably his jersey, but it's an interesting swatch at the very least. I've never been like the biggest fan of the look of this card. It's another All-Star one, so I guess that's going for 2. Is that we talked about last week in our PWCC weekly preview, the provenance whole thing, where it's game used jersey and you know exactly the game is from, the 1997 All-Star game in San Jose. So I don't know. What do you think about this card?
I like it. It's grown on me. The more we see it, the more I like it.
Very spendy.
Yeah, it's very spendy, but it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. If you don't have a PWCC Premier budget like me, and you're more of a PWCC weekly guy, the current auction is live as well. So you can head to PWCC Marketplace, check out all the cards in the auction, and then on Thursday's show, we'll pick out our favorite vintage and modern ones to feature. All right, mailbag time.
All right, let's go.
So let's start with on YouTube. We got a question from YouTube, Troy, which is pretty awesome.
Whoa. Is that the first one?
Maybe. 7460 says, love the show. Well, thank you, Joe. Do you think raw cards will ever be more valuable than graded cards one day? I don't. And not because I don't like raw cards. I do appreciate them. But I think what we forget, when it comes to transactions, that the biggest thing grading does is it sort of eliminates the, I don't know, maybe I'm kind of blanking, but it provides that third party evaluation of condition, so you don't have to. Because I remember like as a kid going into a car shop and like them trying to like sell like a Sergei Fedorov Young
Yep.
Guns, like this card is mint, and it's like, well, the corner's bent in half, and they go, no, it's mint, right? You don't, and in any transaction, you're always going to have a disagreement in condition where
Yep.
the seller is going to think the condition is better than the buyer thinks it's going to be, because naturally that would be your point of advocacy. And then especially online, when you a lot of times have horrible photos or you can't zoom in to the point to really accurately tell a
Yep.
description, that what grading does, if you're worried about condition as a part of value, is it sort of eliminates a lot of risk from a buyer's perspective. And so that's why I think that they'll never be more valuable. Raw cards will never be more
Yeah.
valuable. Do you agree or disagree with that?
No, I agree with your premise. Listen, I'm it's no secret I'm not the biggest grader. I would love just everything to be raw, but it's not the reality of what we are. And I think the points you give are a perfect reason on why graded cards will be more.
Mhm. Okay, Instagram, Daniel Poulin 180. What's the best product in your opinion that has the best secondary market resales value? So, Daniel, I don't do a little bit of maybe interpretation of this, because if I take your question on face value, the best secondary market values would be the cup, right? They sell
Yeah.
for the most. But I think like when you're looking at maybe ROI a little bit, is that especially if you're buying singles, I think OPG Platinum, if you get the right rookies and the right parallels, that you can get good value there. Flagship too has traditionally,
Yeah.
we'll see with Series 2 and extended now, but has had, a lot of value for what you spend on the boxes.
Well, I'd be interested in a year or two to see what SP Signature Edition Legends does, how those values have held up on like the
I-
future all-time future
Oh, I
watch
think
list.
long term, I'm very
Yeah.
confident on them. Who knows in the short term, but yeah, I think that's a good point. All right, Discord Braun. Do you think we're reaching a breaking point in the hockey card hobby where all these sets have tons of inserts and parallels, and all these sets are just getting in the way or getting way too watered down? Just look at SP and artifacts. It seems so watered down with today's prices. I'd rather have guaranteed 2 good insert cards per box versus all these tons of retro this and retro that. I'd like to see the hobby get back to a few insert parallel sets in a release and hunt for them versus putting all these inserts with low values or of a player you have not heard of or care about. Okay, Troy, you had an answer for this.
Yeah, so we've heard this term, the junk insert era. That's what we're kind of in, right? The junk parallel insert era. And it's a great question, but again, people complain when there aren't chases, and then the card companies respond with more inserts. Now we think there's too many inserts. I don't know what the balance is. I don't know the right answer. Breaking has definitely played into this, I think, on how we or how we look at this stuff, because if you're doing a break and it's a bunch of base cards, then no one's getting anything they want. So the companies respond. I think this is kind of how some of it's played out. You put more inserts in, and now we're saying there's too many inserts. I don't know what the right answer is. I wish we could go back to the days of a couple sets per year, and I had all my base cards and I was good to go. But that will not happen.
Yeah, I always try to find the opportunity in things. And I think that everything Braun's saying is right, that
Yep.
you look at new releases and there's so many more question marks and maybe potential pitfalls that it's hard to make good choices. So what I've done in my own collecting is I'm kind of looking away from the new stuff, right? I'm going
Yeah.
back to like the 2012 Fleer retro sets and stuff the players that I loved growing up, the Pavel Bures and Sergei Fedorovs and Yarmir Yagers, right? And kind of playing in that sandbox right now and letting all this other stuff shake out, right? Just because it is doesn't mean that the hobby's big enough where you don't have to participate if you're not comfortable
Yep.
with what's going on in a very specific niche or compartment of the hobby. And so, I love new releases just like everyone else, but yeah, I'm being very, very cautious, I guess is my approach, and kind of letting all this stuff sort out and not, trying not to get so swept up in it that I end up paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question, Discord, Top Shelf Cookie Sniper. Be sure to check out Jay's Hockey Cards podcast as well. He does a good job. Who is the next NHL player to maybe take the next card value leap and maintain it, like Jack Hughes? He says, also, Ryan O'Reilly is the second star of the week. How does he keep it up? He may be the most underrated player. So you looked up the O'Reilly piece. Honestly, when we had a breakout candidates, I said Clayton Keller, Seth Jarvis, and Brady Tkachuk, but I don't think any of them are on the level of Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
Troy, I think it's like, if you look at if you have McDavid, Ovechkin, Crosby, Matthews, and Hughes, the next guys are probably Bedard or Fantilli, right? I mean, the most likely.
Yeah, most likely, for sure.
And then there are a million question marks because their careers are 40 games young, but I would say there's better odds of those two having sustained high values 2 years from now than just about anybody else.
Yeah. And this is always one of those questions. Well,
it's
one of those questions where if I knew this, I'd be rich. I'd be throwing all my money into them. But yeah, the O'Reilly piece. So I'm totally thrown off because I never saw anything about O'Reilly being the second star of the week. And I looked at the NHL.com and I'm like, what is so? Jay, you let me know. What did I miss? I think I might have missed something in the question. But yeah, O'Reilly's actually I love that this guy is our guy. He's our guy. 16 goals, 22 assists, 38 points. He's almost a point per game player. He's 43 games played. And I guess he's liking it in Nashville. He's dang near 33 years old. I think he's 32. But it's absolutely awesome that he is playing so well. He might be underrated, but again, he will never get the hobby love. It's just how it is.
No,
it's too late in his career to get picked up.
You wouldn't put him ahead of like Kucherov or Mikko Rantanen.
No.
Point even some of these guys that scored.
In my heart, I would, but not in hockey value.
Number one in our hearts.
Skill. Yeah.
Number 9,000 in the hobby.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Instagram. Kevin B. Smith. For the hobby, how upset or disappointed should Jamie Drysdale PCers be with his trade to Philly?
Yeah, I'm interested in this because you gotta let me know if I'm off the right or on the right track or off of it. Because I would say, while it stinks that Anaheim moved on, if I PC Drysdale, I wouldn't change my mind about PCing him unless I was such a huge Ducks fan that I need everything in a Ducks uniform. Then I'm mad. Then I'm upset that he got traded. But if you like him, I think the trade to Philly actually gives him a fresh start. And I looked, he's got 2 assists in his first 3 games with Philly, so that's good. Philly career starting well. He can just go in there and be like, I love it here. Absolutely love it here. You are my people. And he will be loved by Philly as long as he kind of performs. And again, he's been hampered by injuries, all this stuff, kind of the fresh start. But if you're looking from the value perspective, yeah, I think you get a lot more argument there that it probably does hurt a little bit. But again, fresh start and start over and don't get injured. That's what I think.
I don't know if I totally agree with that. I get where you're coming from, but would you like Kaprizov as much as if he played for the Islanders?
Well, I still like him.
Yeah.
I don't PC. I mean, I PC wild players, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think if I PC'd him, if I liked him, I'd go with him. If not, move on.
All right. Next question. Instagram. Distress Clouds, I think it is. I think. How many different Matt Boldy rookie cards are there already, and does that negatively affect hobby value?
I love this question because it sent me down such a rabbit hole. Okay, so, and maybe I'm misunderstanding the question, but if you look at TCDB and you go for Matt Boldy, he only has 12 rookie cards in TCDB trading card database with the RC designation,
which seems impossible.
Well, yeah.
But
so
you're going to explain. So
12 seems super low. I was like, what? I'm like, no way. But that number doesn't include the inserts, the parallels, the autos, printing plates, you name it, doesn't include that. So doing what I do, Boldy's a 22-23 rookie. So if you just see how many cards he has in those set releases, and this includes everything, it's like 808.
And we're not even done with 2022.
Yes, releases. And we're not even done. So he has, and if you look at TCDB, he's only got like 870 cards in their database, but it's like 808 total rookie year cards. Now, a lot of those, again, it does, like when they get the RC designation TCDB, it just has those 12 cards. It doesn't have all the inserts parallels, but there are others.
Is that what they decide, or is that?
I have no clue how they decide what gets. Yeah, I have no clue. And maybe I'm totally missing something, but on how to look at it, but there's a ton of cards. Let's just be honest. There's a ton of cards, but I think rookie values are more driven by hype and then performance. I don't think in today's age, the number of cards, because it's going to be the same for any top rookie. You're probably going to have the same amount of tons of cards. So I would say it's just hype first and then performance.
If there's 808 total cards and 12 quote unquote true rookies.
Well, think about OPG. Think about OPG. Like the marquee rookie might be the RC card, but then you have all the parallels of that.
Yeah.
And the printing plates, and those aren't getting counted in that 12
all the trillion inserts.
It's yeah. So I don't know. But again, I don't think really the number and plus it's collectors. They know usually we have our top three. We got the Young Guns, the Future Watch Auto, Cup RPA. And collectors gravitate to those. I don't know if you want to call them those more true rookies or what, but
I always wondered though if like Upper Deck should like come up with like a real specific RC badge for like what they say are true rookies, and if that would that might be kind of cool, because then it allows you as a collector to kind of sift through the cruft a little bit if you really want to get the best of the best cards.
Or come out with a list, put it on your website that needs updating. Do something like I just don't get
layer first. But
to me it bugs me that there's so many things that can help this hobby from the company that produces the cards that isn't done. And I want that to happen. So, all
right, next question. Instagram, Hagerstrom 10. Why did Upper Deck give David Urasek 2 Young Guns canvas cards, but a player like Cole Perfetti didn't get 1? That's a fantastic question. I have no idea. And honestly, if I had to guess, it probably was an oversight and not an intentional decision. There's been enough snafus that we've observed where I wouldn't be shocked at all if there's a lot of moving pieces to these sets. So that's my best guess anyways. Next question, Instagram, Stores 19. Love ripping wax. My question is, how do you store and sort everything? By team, by series, by player? I just put them in sleeves and put them in boxes and then have no organization. So, Troy, what do you do?
I do player. I just do player. I have a huge I got 5,000 count boxes for all the base, and I write up little dividers with their names on it, and I put them in there. So that I do by player, and then I have more boxes that are for the inserts, and then autos get their own box, or inserts and parallels, and then autos get their own. That's
okay. Next question, Instagram, Southeast Mike. Have you noticed Cardboard Connection hasn't been updated since January 2nd? It's usually updated at least once a day. Any ideas or thoughts on what's happening, or am I concerned over nothing? The only thing I'll say about this, Troy, and I know you looked into it more than I did, is I never knew it showed that they even updated it. So that's how clueless I was on this question.
Yeah, I love this question because it gives me now I can complain more about something. So I didn't notice that. I don't go out there unless I need to. I don't go out every day or anything. But I do know it had the 22-23 ice checklist, but I can't remember when that dropped. I don't know if it was after that January 2nd date, but it did have that out there. So that for me was my thing. But the thing that drives me nuts on Cardboard Connection and Beckett, and I would love it if someone tells me that I'm missing it or where it is. When I go look at like checklist on each site, I can never find a date that they published that information. Any news article you go to, usually it says like published by or whatever, the author and then the date. I cannot find that. I can never find the date, and it drives me nuts. So that's what I'll say. And I would say don't worry about it yet, but if it's another, I don't know, a couple days, probably another week or whenever the next, I don't know if football releases are getting updated, if I don't even know what the other sports do for releases right now. So.
Okay, next question. X or Twitter, Sebastian Engelhardt. Great question. Sebastian asks really good. Everybody does, but I like Sebastian's questions. Why is it called Extended Series and not Series 3? Yeah. So it's a great, like I said, great question. My best guess is because it does not have, it's not the same configuration as Series 1 and Series 2. Is that Series 1 and 2 are very, very similar, and where in Extended Series you have less Young Guns. You have all these like tributes and retros, and including in the Young Guns. And so it's not similar enough probably to have that. And I'm guessing that they wanted flexibility to experiment with it and to not, because if you call it Series 3, you have to keep the same format as Series 1 and Series 2. So that's my best guess. Anything to add to that?
No, I have nothing. I know I thought we've asked Upper Deck this before, but I can't remember.
Okay, next question. Instagram Trap Collector 604. Canucks eventually get hobby love the way they are playing this year? Question mark.
Yes.
Well, what I would say is if they don't with Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson, it's probably never going to happen.
Yeah.
So
true.
Pretty exciting time, I think, to be a Canucks fan. And then last question, Troy, from Blade Visionary. He said, from your previous episodes, you've brought up the importance of authenticity of autos and patches on cards. The more history of where the patches come from, the more legitimate and collectible they become. How about card companies taking it further and having a QR code on the back of the card that speaks to the authenticity of the patch and auto, time, place, significance of the game, maybe a video of the card being signed by the player and a video snippet of the player wearing the uniform in the game? And he's like, thoughts? I'll let you kind of, that's an amazing. I didn't update the name. So sorry. It's Blade Visionary on Discord. Okay. Those are amazing ideas, very creative ideas. I love them. It just comes down to Upper Deck would need to, the time, effort, and money it would take to do that. They would have to feel like it's worth it to them, I guess, or that there would be an ROI. But those are amazing ideas. I would love that as a collector.
I agree 100%. I love this question. I'm glad he asked it because this got back to my complaining about things that can help this hobby or make it even better is stuff like this. I love this. If you listen to way back when, we had a show where we both said changes we would make at Upper Deck, I think we did. And one of them I said was QR codes. But mine was more, it was a QR code if it was like a patch auto that brought you to like a site on Upper Deck that showed you the actual patch auto so you could see if it was faked or something, or a checklist feature or something kind of a little bit different than this. But I love this. If you go to a Major League Baseball game and you buy a baseball at the game, it has a hologram and a code on it that you can, I think it's a QR code that you can scan and you can see who hit it, where it was hit, foul ball, home run, whatever. You can see. Really cool. Again, like Josh said. Yeah, like Josh said, it's all about Upper Deck if they feel it's worth it.
And it comes back to, this is where I think the negative of not having competition.
Yeah.
Is that there's really not an incentive to go out of your way to do stuff like this if you're not being pressured by somebody else that's kind of advancing the hobby forward.
Agree.
Okay, personal pickups. So what does go away mean?
I'm not talking about it. I'm just like, go away. No more. I don't know what to say. That's my answer.
You're just in a funk. It's okay. It happens. You're the Trevor Zegras of hockey card collectors right now.
I feel like I have a lot more money though. That's weird.
Yeah. All right, I actually bought 2 cards. The first one's kind of a cheap card. I just thought it's cool. It's a 1997-98 Pacific Paramount Jaromir Jagr photo engravings. It was like $5, but I just wanted it, and it's got the sweet mullet flow on it. So I don't care what it's worth. I just like the card. And then the next one, actually, this kind of speaks to some of the questions about the current state of new releases and rookies and all the pitfalls that are around. Are they good one week? Do they stink the next? Are they hurt? What's going on in the league? It's like, well, I kind of mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm kind of going back to guys I know and loved and followed in my, younger collecting years. And I found this 2013-14 Fleer Showcase Teemu Selanne red PMG out of 75. So a little bit, not out of 100 like reds are traditionally. It's kind of a little bit different PMG design. I just thought kind of a cool, clean card. I've always loved Teemu, and it's a card again. I don't know if it'll be worth less than I paid for it 2 years from now, but I think it'll always be a cool card. There'll always be a market for Teemu, and I know I'll enjoy it. So yeah, I picked it up. Now, is this a PMG design that you're not a PMG fan in general, but
actually I don't mind this one that much, but I wonder, I mean, it's a great picture. The picture's really clean. I like this. What is this? Oh, it's his picture. Okay, it's another picture.
I think it's a Ducks logo.
No, it's his head. I can see his helmet and his face. Okay. It's like so that I don't get, but besides
I've never seen one in hand.
Yeah, but it looks really nice from from the picture looks clean.
Well, the card looks like it's in good shape for a PMG too. So that made me kind of interesting. But yeah,
I really like these jerseys. I'm becoming a Ducks jersey guy, I think.
Ducks jersey fan. All right. You got to get coaching. So we got to get out of here. That's our show for today. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review of Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, which we hope you do, you want to support us, which would be amazing. You want to chat with us every day on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server. Please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. There's a link in the show description, whether you're listening to us on a podcast app or watching us on YouTube. You go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link. You go to the Patreon website, just type in patreon.com and search for us, Hockey Cards Gong Show, or there's a link in our Instagram and TikTok profiles too. We are on social media. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. Have an awesome start to your week. We're going to freeze our butts off here in Minnesota, but we'll see you all on Thursday.